Chapter 1390. The Identity and Origin of the Statue. 2. Aside from the statue and the ancient wood spirit, I obtained all my treasures from those heads. However, in the 100 years I was there, I only carefully moved around the other edge. I didn't dare to move to the inner region, so I didn't know what's there. Until one day while I was moving between two boulders, I encountered a large amount of spatial cracks. With my cultivation level, I would without a doubt died, so I could only retreat and enter into the depths of that place. When I arrived at the edge of the inner realm, I heard mournful roar coming from all directions. This made my body tremble, a tremble from the soul. I didn't dare to carelessly move from there. It wasn't until a few years later that I had the guts to move. I wanted to leave and return to the outer edge. I had a feeling that the inner part wasn't somewhere I could go and I would die. However, just as I wanted to leave, I was hit by a storm and was seriously injured before passing out. When I woke up, I was beside a large withered forest. The forest was so big, I couldn't see the end. Even my divine sense couldn't cover the area. All the trees had withered and died. There was not a single leaf. I carefully moved through there in fear, and after unknown amount of years, I saw one tree that hadn't completely withered, and it had a single yellow leaf. This was the first leaf I had seen there. The leaf was later taken by me. I also put the tree that hadn't completely withered into my bag of holding. I don't know where the forest was located in this mysterious place, and I could only move forward. It felt like hundreds and thousands of years had passed. The more I walked forward, the more serious the withering was. At the end, the trees would turn to ashes the moment I touched them one day. I arrived at the center of the forest. I believe that's where the center should be. I saw a statue, and at the moment I had a feeling that it was due to this statue that this boundless forest was withering. I felt that the statue was a treasure. The moment I picked it up, a vortex appeared. It was the same vortex that had brought me there. I was ecstatic and rushed into the vortex. After I came out, I was in a foreign star system. Later, I learned that I had come to the outer realm after Greed finished speaking. He looked at Wang Lin. Wang Lin frowned and began to ponder. There was a flash in Greed's eyes. Halfway through his story, he found that his body was no longer frozen. The stop spell seemed to have expired. At this moment, seeing that Wang Lin was pondering, Greed was extremely nervous and slowly retreated before suddenly speeding up. Just as he was about to escape, Wang Lin raised his right hand and casually reached out. In an instant, Greed let out a miserable scream as he was caught by an invisible hand and was pulled back toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's palm nearly touched Greed's forehead, and a mysterious suction force came from his palm and clearly entered Greed's head. Fear washed over Greed and he screamed, "You promised not to kill me!" Just as he screamed, Wang Lin's right hand landed on Greed's forehead. His divine sense rushed into Greed's origin soul and swept Greed's memory. At the same time, along with Wang Lin's powerful divine sense, thunder rumbled and gathered in his right hand. The thunder went into Greed's origin soul and cleansed his origin soul. Greed's body trembled, and in a moment, sweat covered his whole body. This only took an instant. Then Wang Lin waved his right hand, throwing Greed far away. "I won't take your treasures for nothing. You can go." Greed's face was pale as he bit the tip of his lip and spat out blood. His speed increased greatly and he flew away. In the blink of an eye, not a trace of him remained. Greed's eyes were filled with lingering fear from escaping death and feeling wronged. "This is the second time I had all my treasures taken by him. I swear I'll never let it happen a third time. Most of my treasure have been taken, so staying in the fallen land is too dangerous. I must quickly return to my cave to take what's left and leave." Greed felt wronged, and after teleporting countless times to make sure Wang Lin wasn't following him, he disappeared. When he reappeared, he was on Cultivation Planet. The moment he reappeared, he charged at a mountain and waved his hand when he arrived at the outer edge. The mountain rumbled and a thin crack opened. Greed didn't hesitate to enter, but the moment he entered, his body trembled. A foul smell came out from the crack and rushed into his face. It was so bad that he almost passed out. "Why does it stink so much?" Greed cursed, and his body suddenly trembled. He was frozen for a moment before he pinched his nose. After smelling carefully again, disbelief filled his eyes. "The stench from my body is gone. Even my sense of smell has been restored." I couldn't smell the stench of this cave before. Greed's eyes were filled with joy. During these hundreds of years, he had spent a lot of effort to resolve the stench from his body. After meeting Wang Lin and losing the chance to obtain the ancient scorpion corpse, he despaired. However, now the stench had unexpectedly disappeared on its own. I won't take your treasures for nothing. You can go. Greed remembered Wang Lin's words before he left, and he revealed a complicated expression. After letting Greed go, Wang Lin had turned around and returned to the Dark Scorpion clan. Greed had come out of the inner realm before him and had collected all these treasures for him. After obtaining all of Greed's hard-earned treasures and adding the joy of meeting someone from home, how could Wang Lin be willing to kill him? That Greed is my lucky star. I can kill him. I must let him go. I am looking forward to our third meeting. He will probably have more treasures to give me. Wang Lin smiled as he appeared above the Dark Scorpion clan's planet. The nearly 1,000 cultivators from the Cloud Escape clan hadn't dared to leave and were still waiting there. Zhong Big Red had become spirited and picked a few cultivators with high cultivation levels to heal him. He laid there and continued to let out cold snorts. Every time he let out a cold snort, the surrounding cultivators would tremble. They looked at Zhong Big Red with respect. They weren't afraid of Zhong Big Red, but of the master behind him. The expression of their patriarch after seeing the jade token made them realize that they had provoked someone they shouldn't and that a calamity was coming. The Dark Scorpion clan members that were dispersed were respectfully escorted back one by one. Pills were taken out to help them recover. Even the old man named Zhang was brought back. There were 2 female Cloud Escape cultivators rubbing Zhong Big Red's shoulders. He felt very comfortable and arrogantly said, I already told you all long ago. This old man clearly told all of you, but you all won't believe me. What is the use of keeping your eyes? It's not this old man looking down upon you, but with your cultivation levels, not to mention my master, even I don't consider you all a threat. Just one slap is enough to crush you all like ants. Zhong Big Red raised his chin and scolded them with disdain. The surrounding Cloud Escape cultivators all nodded in agreement. Even those that were haughty didn't dare to refute when their entire clan was facing destruction. The Cloud Escape patriarch and elders respectfully stood beside Zhong Big Red. They all had flattering smiles and continued to nod. Lord, please forgive us. I really didn't know Lord's identity. I hope Lord will say good things about us, and afterward, I'll send you a generous gift. The Cloud Escape patriarch felt bitterness in his heart. His cultivation level was clearly much higher. He could kill Zhong Big Red with one finger, but now he had to carefully serve this person. Zhong Big Red was very comfortable from the female cultivators massaging him. He let out a snort and proudly said, Since you realize your mistake, I should give you a chance to repent, but... The Cloud Escape patriarch quickly took a few steps forward and waved his right hand to take out a jade bottle. His heart ached, but he clenched his teeth and offered it up. Just a little gift. I hope Lord accepts it. Zhong Big Red picked it up and looked at it. Joy appeared in his eyes as he put it away and coughed. This old man will try. Just at this moment, ripples spread in the sky and Wang Lin walked out. The moment he walked out, Zhong Big Red's expression changed and he suddenly stood up. He was afraid he was too slow and pushed aside the female cultivators behind him. Then a flattering expression appeared on his face. Welcome, Master, on your triumphant return. Master, Big Red hasn't seen you in such a long time that I felt lost. Even when I cultivate, I can calm down unless I recite Master's name 100 times. Even then, it can compare to how much this little one missed Master. Only after seeing Master and being next to Master can this little one feel calm. Zhong Big Red quickly moved forward and used his invincible art. At the same time, he was very careful to not exaggerate too much and make Wang Lin mad. At this moment, the arrogance he showed before the Cloud Escape clan was gone, and now he was constantly flattering. This was the first time the Cloud Escape cultivators had encountered something like this, and were gobsmacked. Even the Cloud Escape patriarch, who had just sent out the gift, was stunned. He couldn't imagine how someone could change so drastically in an instant. Quickly, make way. Why are you standing there? Don't block my master! Zhong Big Red rushed toward Wang Lin and pushed away the Escape Cloud clan cultivators, including the patriarch. It was as if he had completely forgotten about the joy after receiving the gift. Leo dreams of getting a lot of likes for this video, having many followers, plenty of shares, and everyone praising his good reading and the number of words he can read. So happy. Chapter 1391, Obtained Through Deceiving. The Cloud Escape Clan didn't leave the planet. They wouldn't dare to leave until Wang Lin allowed them to. After Wang Lin returned, he created a large cave and went into closed-door cultivation. He set up restrictions so no one could take half a step within 50 kilometers of the cave. The Dark Scorpion clan had the highest status, so they occupied the area closest to the cave. The Cloud Escape clan was helpless, so they could only temporarily settle down nearby. Zhong Big Red was extremely arrogant. He moved between the two clans as he wished. The joy of being the focus of everyone's attention was something he couldn't get in the Scatter Thunder clan. Inside the cave, Wang Lin sat there and pondered. Earlier, before the messenger left, the messenger had told him that a very important event would occur in 3 months. On that day, the fallen elders would be restructured. Some might keep their status, and some might be replaced by others. However, Wang Lin didn't care about this. What he cared about was how he could accomplish his goal with the Fire Sparrow clan through this fallen elder election. The bait has been set. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, and then he closed them as his divine sense spread out. His divine sense gradually merged with the world, becoming part of it. After a long time, Wang Lin slowly noticed that a familiar feeling in the distance was moving farther and farther away. In the dark space outside the fallen land, 3 Fire Sparrow clan members were flying far away. One of them was a middle-aged man with a solemn expression. He touched the mark between his eyebrows and his eyes revealed a strange light. Elder asked me to send the blood extracted from the pill back. This matter is of great importance to our clan, so we can make any mistakes. If the Elder's analysis is true, then after the Patriarch and Elders see this, they will definitely have more orders. The man's eyes were filled with determination. He and the 2 people beside him flew even faster and disappeared into the distance. Wang Lin opened his eyes, and his divine withdrew. A sneer appeared on his face. That blood contained a high temperature and a hint of fire essence. Aside from his own blood, nothing else could replace it. Therefore, he could use his connection to his own blood to find its rough location, even when it was far away. Once that sliver of essence is sent back to the Fire Sparrow clan, it will definitely set off a huge wave. Then my plan to obtain their fire essence should succeed. Since the blood has already been sent away, I need to prepare the second step. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and revealed a hint of gloominess. He waved his right hand, and a spatial rift appeared. The moment the rift opened, a mournful cry came from within. This cry was filled with sorrow and could make the hearts of people tremble. Grandpa Shu, little Biao knows he was wrong. Grandpa Shu, please let little Biao go. I'll never dare to deceive you again. Another scream echoed, and Shu Liguo's laughter was mixed with it. To land in your Grandpa Shu's hands was your fortune. Your Grandpa Shu has been lonely for thousands of years. I'll never kill you. Little precious Jin Biao, you can rest assured. Grandpa Shu won't make it too painful. The miserable screams echoed and sounded really tragic. Wang Lin frowned and let out a dry cough. As his cough echoed into the storage space, the screams suddenly stopped. Shortly after, Shu Liguo's excited voice echoed, and he quickly flew out from the storage space. Shu Liguo was holding a person. His clothes were in tatters, looking as if he was just attacked, and he looked extremely haggard. His eyes were filled with horror as Shu Liguo held him and appeared before Wang Lin. Master, what do you need help with? This little one assures I'll do it well, and it won't be like back in the Scatter Thunder clan. Shu Liguo threw Yu Jin Biao to the side and rubbed his hands together. Wang Lin didn't look at Shu Liguo but looked at Lu Jin Biao, who began to tremble. His heart was filled with indescribable fear. After being thrown into the storage space, he had been tormented by Shu Liguo. He was devastated and miserable, and every time he thought about Shu Liguo, it was like a nightmare. Wang Lin slowly said, Lu Jinbao, do you admit your wrongdoing? When these words landed in Lu Jinbiao's ears, his body trembled violently. Then he knelt on the ground and cried. Celestial, this little one knows he was wrong, and asked Celestial to give this little one a chance. This little one will never deceive again. Wang Lin's right index finger gently touched his knee and a strange light appeared in his eyes. He looked at Lu Jinbiao and said, Tell me, how is your deception without the jade? Lu Jinbiao wiped away the tears off his face and was filled with repentance. He quickly said, Celestial, what deception skill does this little one have? I completely relied on the jade, and now Celestial has taken the jade, so this little one can deceive anyone anymore. I ask Celestial to give this little one freedom. This little one can deceive anyone anymore. There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes, and he nodded. Since you can deceive anyone anymore, you are worthless. Thus, there is no reason to keep you alive. Lu Jinbiao's face was filled with joy, but then immediately froze. Once he realized Wang Lin's meaning, his expression changed. His body trembled when he saw the coldness in Wang Lin's eyes, and he quickly said, "Celestial misunderstands. Celestial misunderstands." What little one said was wrong. Even without the jade, this little one's deception skill is #1 in the Cloud Sea. No one can compare. This little one never relied too much on the jade. I only used it when I had to. This little one has been practicing the art of deception since young, and has always used any chance I had to practice. I am a master of deception. Oh, then tell me, what is your understanding of deception? Wang Lin's right index finger was still gently tapping his knee. Although his voice was calm, this action caused Lu Jinbiao's heart to beat at the rate of his tapping. Deception, in truth, is the truth to trick people, to use any means, especially credibility, misunderstanding, or even prejudice, to achieve a certain goal. When needed, this includes camouflage, even to the point where you believe it yourself. Only like this can you fool others. Lu Jinbiao was cautious as he looked at Wang Lin. After seeing Wang Lin nod, he relaxed a bit. The art of deception I study is divided into 3 realms. The first realm is to deceive others. The second realm is to deceive yourself. The third realm is a certain enlightenment, like seeing a mountain as a mountain, and seeing a mountain not as a mountain. Going back to the basics, it is similar to the first realm. These 3 realms sound simple, but in truth, most people linger in the first realm. They don't even believe their own words and are just deceiving to deceive. Their skills are trivial. Lu Jinbiao relaxed, but he was still cautious. Only after reaching a certain understanding of deception can one reach the second realm, to deceive oneself. To use any method and life experience to deceive oneself until even you yourself believe the deception is real. Lu Jinbiao took a deep breath. He seemed to have forgotten his present situation and became serious. There are others that have reached this realm. Whenever we meet, we always debate Tao and compare our understanding. However, most people I've met didn't dare to go too far into the second realm. After all, the second realm is extremely dangerous to us. The danger comes from ourselves. When we completely cheat ourselves, there is a chance we get lost and forget. We might become a gentleman, a villain, or even a madman. There were also some seniors who sank too far into the second realm and even forgot who they were. Whenever I think of them, I feel sadness in my heart. Lamentable, lamentable. Lu Jinbiao had forgotten this current situation, and there was a certain charm to his words. This caused Shu Liguo's jaw to drop, and he mocked, "Aren't you just a scammer? You talk as if it's like cultivating." Shu Liguo didn't finish speaking when Lu Jinbiao suddenly stood up and glared at him. His eyes were filled with pride and haughtiness, but there was also a hint of loneliness. This loneliness came from someone who stood at the top. How can an ignorant child understand this old man's heart? When this old man was 4 years old, I began cheating, and was already a prodigy at the age of 9. I dared to deceive a foundation establishment cultivator as a mortal. After 16 years, I could read people's hearts at a glance. Since then, I've walked the heavens and earth, seeking the limit of the art of deception. The world is big, and rumor has it that there are 3,000 grand daos. However, who can tell this old man what the 3,000 grand daos are, and that the Tao of deception isn't part of the 3,000 grand daos? If what you all cultivate can be called Tao, then isn't what I cultivate considered Tao? How many creatures have been born throughout time, and how many creatures have perished? Ever since the birth of the universe and living things coming to be, deception has existed. If it is useless, then it would have long disappeared and not existed until today. This old man seeks to ask the heavens the rank of the Tao of deception among the 3,000 grand daos. If there really is none, then this old man will make his own Tao outside of the 3,000 grand daos. Shu Liguo was gobsmacked. Even Wang Lin was startled. 3,000 words in a major chapter. Wish that the like button for the video would break. Chapter 1392, 6th Generation Vermilion Bird. At this moment, Lu Jinbiao was no longer desolate. He stood there, and although his clothes were still in tatters, an indescribable feeling shrouded him. This is the old man has reached the second realm of deception. Don't you all think this is easy? Deceiving yourself once is easy, but deceiving yourself for a lifetime is difficult. Deceiving yourself all the time would affect your origin soul, and even your memory would change. Even powerful cultivators that have reached the second step can find real memories using soul search, because all the real memories have collapsed. The second realm is to deceive ourselves. At the peak, one either loses themselves and becomes someone else, or they can be reborn and remember themselves. Then they can break through the second realm and be able to turn back to themselves at any moment. Such a person is rare, and they would reach the third step of returning back to one's true form. If it wasn't for the fact that I relied on the jade so much that my Tao heart isn't strong, which made my Tao of deception stop, then not even Lord Celestial could catch me so easily. Now that you took my jade and destroyed what I relied on, it gave me a chance. In the storage space, my deception reached the peak of the second realm, and I took half a step into the third realm. Lu Jinbiao waved his sleeve and revealed a cold expression. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, and he slowly said, "That's kind of interesting." After Shu Liguo was yelled at by Lu Jinbiao, he didn't yell back but pondered for a bit. His gaze toward Lu Jinbiao changed before he clasped his hands and said, "Fellow cultivator Jinbiao's words have widened my horizons. In the 3,000 Grand Daos, there is the Tao of deception. Good, good, good. I want to know if the Tao I seek is also among the 3,000 Grand Daos." Lu Jinbiao's eyes were filled with joy, as if he had changed into a different person. The pride and indifference he previously had collapsed in an instant. His back was still hunched, and there was still a hint of fear in his eyes. Just a little deception skill, nothing worthy of mentioning to Lord Shu. As long as Lord Shu doesn't bully this little one too much, this little one will be satisfied. His change was so sudden, it even startled Shu Liguo. He cursed in his heart and didn't know what to say. Wang Lin's eyes revealed a strange light. He carefully looked at Lu Jinbiao and slowly said, "I can give you a chance. If you do it well, I'll let you go and even give you a great fortune." Lu Jinbiao's body trembled, and he looked at Wang Lin. "You are often just deceiving one person or one sect, but now I want you to deceive an entire clan. Do you dare?" Wang Lin's voice was calm, but when Lu Jinbiao heard this, his heart skipped a beat. Lu Jinbiao hesitated and whispered, "This in truth, it doesn't matter who I am deceiving, but to set it up requires detailed preparations." "No problem. You have 3 months to prepare. You said that the second realm of deception is to deceive yourself so that even your memory changes. So I'll give you a set of memories." The blue fire in Wang Lin's left eye surged out and surrounded Lu Jinbiao, forming a ball of fire. Shu Liguo immediately retreated and revealed a hint of terror. This fiend's cultivation level has increased again. Time slowly passed. In the blink of an eye, 1 month went by. In this month, Shu Liguo wanted to leave the cave to enjoy himself, but just as he was about to leave, he would be stopped by the restrictions. After trying a few times, Shu Liguo continued to curse as he stared outside and began to daydream. On this day, Shu Liguo was still in a daze when he suddenly looked back. Deep within the cave, the fireball had been burning there for a month. Shortly after, a violent roar came from the fireball, and the fire from the fireball formed a large vermilion bird, and it let out a cry. Then a figure slowly appeared from the fireball. At first the figure was blurry, but it became more clear as the person walked out. Shu Liguo's pupil shrank, and he was startled. He vaguely felt like the person who walked out was familiar, and when he took a closer look, his eyes almost popped out. The figure walked out from the fireball and stood before Shu Liguo. His clothes were still in tatters, but it didn't weaken his sense of majesty at all. Lu Jinbiao looked exactly the same, but the feeling he gave Shu Liguo was like heaven and earth from before. The Lu Jinbiao now was like a master of a generation. As he stood there, an invisible pressure came from him. It was strong enough to shock anyone who saw him. A fire surrounded Lu Jinbiao and revealed the appearance of a vermilion bird. His gaze was indifferent and calm. He displayed his might without being angry, and when his gaze swept past Shu Liguo, it even caused Shu Liguo to suck in a breath of cold air. Lu Jinbiao's cultivation was erratic. Sometimes it was extremely powerful and sometimes ordinary, but it was this change that made him mysterious. Although his gaze was indifferent, There was a sense of age deep within his eyes. This sense of age wasn't something an ordinary cultivator could have. It was a sense of exhaustion that only appeared after someone had lived for tens of thousands of years and had seen through life. This was an exhaustion of life. It was something that appeared after living for far too long. Shu Liguo was completely startled. He couldn't tell if this was the same Lu Jinbiao he had bullied in the storage space. Although the two looked the same, the feelings they gave off were like two completely different people. Just as Shu Liguo opened his mouth, Lu Jinbiao coldly looked at Shu Liguo. This glance caused Shu Liguo's scalp to go numb and he subconsciously took a few steps back. This old man is the 6th-generation Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor. I am looking for the 4th-generation Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor. I was seriously injured by the sealed realm formation when leaving the inner realm, Lu Jinbiao said, giving off a sense of majesty as if he was above all. This aura could only appear when someone had been in a high position that controlled the life and death of tens of thousands of people for a long time. At this moment, he had long forgotten he was once a scammer. His memory had changed, and he believed he really was the 6th-generation Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor. Even if a powerful cultivator searched his soul, they wouldn't find any flaws. All the memories they would obtain would be real. Lu Jinbiao coldly stepped forward. At this moment, Wang Lin's voice came out from the blue fireball in the cave. Shu Liguo, serve the 6th-generation Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor and listen to all his orders. If you disobey him, I'll erase your existence. Shu Liguo's body trembled and he quickly nodded before following Lu Jinbiao. The restrictions on the cave were automatically opened, allowing the two to leave. Aside from Lu Jinbiao, no one knew what Wang Lin left on him in that month. After the two of them left, the fireball gradually disappeared and returned to Wang Lin's left eye. He still calmly sat there, and there was a flash of wisdom in his eyes. The second bait has been set, Fire Sparrow Clan. Don't disappoint me. Wang Lin revealed a sneer and waved his hand, causing a rift to his storage space to appear. A statue flew out. It was the one he got from Greed. Greed has gifted me a lot of treasure. I need to imprint my divine sense on all of them and learn of their power so I can display their full strength in battle. This statue is obviously his most powerful treasure. Otherwise, he wouldn't have taken it out last. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. Not everyone could reach the second realm of deception like Lu Jinbiao and change the memories in their mind. At least Greed couldn't. Wang Lin had searched Greed's memory and learned that what he had said was mostly true. He had also learned 2 key points from Greed's memory. The first key point was where the vortex had appeared in Al-Heaven. The second point was where Greed had appeared after coming out from that ancient tomb. These 2 points should be useful to me. I should search that location in the ancient star system as I might find some gains. As for the tomb, it is very like the rumored ancient order tomb. Wang Lin's gaze swept past the statue as he pondered. Who the hell is this statue? Why would it appear in that tomb? Wang Lin pondered for a long time before he extended his divine sense toward the statue. However, just as his divine sense was going to touch the statue, his eyes lit up. Perhaps she will recognize it. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he waved his right hand, creating a second spatial rift. Wang Lin had opened this spatial rift just for one person. Silver moonlight came out from the rift and filled the cave. A beautiful woman slowly walked out from the rift. It was the woman in silver who had regained some of her memories. Wang Lin asked, "Do you know him?" The woman in silver put her hair behind her ear and looked at the statue after walking out. At this moment, her pupils shrank and she was stunned for a moment before she began to scream. 3,000 words in a major chapter, hoping to be shared, hoping to get the like button hit for the video. Chapter 1393, 7 colors again, 1. Her scream was harsh and miserable, containing a great amount of fear. It was as if this man had done so much harm to her, that even though her memories hadn't fully recovered, she couldn't help but let out such a miserable scream. The woman in silver's sudden change was not something Wang Lin had expected and something he had never seen before from her. He quickly stood up and put away the statue. The woman in silver had already retreated to the edge of the cave. Her body was filled with monstrous fear, and her body trembled violently. Her face was pale, and at a glance she was like a lonely boat in a stormy sea, extremely pitiful. Wang Lin was about to move forward when the woman suddenly raised her head. The fear in her eyes was unimaginably strong as she snapped, "Dante, come over." The voice was filled with loss and helplessness. There was also a distrust of all living things in the world. At this moment, she didn't even trust Wang Lin. Wang Lin silently stood there and felt remorse. He only wanted to find out the identity of the statue, but he didn't expect she would display such fear. Sounds of weeping came from the woman and 2 streams of tears flowed down her cheeks. The drops of tears made soft sounds as they fell on the floor. The tears shattered in the ground, forming a wet mark that gradually spread. "Dante, come over, Dante, come over. I didn't make a mistake. I didn't open the door. I didn't." The woman bit her lower lip, held her body against the wall, and slowly curled up. Tears flowed nonstop from her eyes as her shoulders trembled. Anyone who saw this would feel a sense of pity. Wang Lin slyly pondered. After a long time, he whispered, "I am sorry." The woman was still curled up and her weeping was still filled with intense fear. Wang Lin slowly moved forward and slowly arrived next to the woman. He gently knelt down and touched her hair. He softly said, "Dante, be afraid. It is all in the past now, Dante, think about it. Since you have forgotten, just forget about it." Listening to Wang Lin's soft, comforting words, the woman gradually calmed down. She was still shaking, and after a long time, she slowly raised her head. There was still deep fear in her eyes, and she had bit her lower lip so hard that it was bleeding. "I didn't open the door, it really wasn't me," the woman murmured as she looked at Wang Lin. Aside from fear, there was also confusion in her eyes. I know, Wang Lin whispered, but his eyes revealed a strange light. The woman apparently knew the person the statue represented, and likely had come in contact with that person. Who the hell was this person? Wang Lin's eyes lit up. Wang Lin softly said, "I know it wasn't you who opened the door, Dante, think about it anymore." The woman didn't seem to hear Wang Lin's words. Her eyes alternated between confusion and fear as she continued to murmur, "All dead, all been killed. Peach Cloud is dead, Purple Fall is also dead, all dead. He was certain we opened the door all dead. I also died." Wang Lin silently pondered for a moment and then looked at the trembling woman. After pondering for a long time, he suddenly asked, "Who is he?" "He is the woman in silver," trembled, and the fear in her eyes increased several-fold. At the same time, her expression began to distort as a sharp pain washed over her. Under this intense pain, the woman began to scream once more. It was as if she didn't want to remember, to think about anything related to that person. Under this intense pain, a green gas appeared on her face, as if it was moving under face. A bizarre mark that covered her entire face appeared. The previously beautiful woman suddenly became like a demon. She suddenly raised her head. The fear and confusion in her eyes had dissipated. Instead, it was replaced with apathy and death. At this moment, a powerful force erupted from her body like a storm. Wang Lin's mind trembled, and he immediately felt a powerful sense of danger. He retreated without hesitation. Just as he retreated, the woman raised her right hand and mercilessly pressed it toward Wang Lin. This palm didn't use any origin energy, but it caused the entire planet to tremble. The sky was originally bright and clear, but in an instant it turned black as if dyed by ink. This darkness covered the sun and blocked out the sky. The entire planet was now dark. In this darkness, a rumble echoed. This wasn't thunder, but a sound much more powerful than thunder. A huge rift was opened up in the sky by this sound. This rift was different from normal spatial rifts. It was far deeper. The depth of this rift was something that couldn't be explained. It was as if this rift led to a mysterious and unfathomable space deep within the star system. The moment the rift appeared, green gas rushed out and charged at Wang Lin's cave. The restrictions weren't able to stop the green gas at all. It charged through and circled around the woman's right palm. Although this all sounds slow, it happened in an instant. The instant the woman raised her right hand, the green gas arrived. This is not spiritual energy, celestial spiritual energy, origin energy, ancient demon power, ancient devil power, or ancient god power. Wang Lin's pupils shrank as he rapidly retreated. The woman's right hand suddenly descended and the green gas suddenly gathered to form a green palm that chased after Wang Lin. In the blink of an eye, the palm closed in. Wang Lin's right hand formed a seal, and the origin energy in his body surged to form a giant vortex that collided with the palm print. There was a thunderous bang and the vortex collapsed. The palm print wasn't damaged at all and had pierced through. Wang Lin was still retreating and used the collapse of the vortex to leave the cave. Thunder flashed in his right eye and shot out, forming a giant thunder tattoo. 9 accompanying types of thunder circled the thunder essence, causing the thunder tattoo to give off a heaven-shattering rumble. The accompanying thunders rotated and blocked the palm print. The resulting thunderous rumbles were several times more intense than before. The thunder tattoo was pushed back. As for the palm print, a large amount of the green gas dissipated before chasing after Wang Lin once more. There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes, and his right foot took a step back. He stopped and no longer retreated. His right hand reached at the void, and a monstrous bloodlight flashed as the blood sword appeared in his hand. Holding the blood sword, the moment the palm print penetrated the thunder tattoo, he let out a cold snort and mercilessly chopped down. The bloodlight instantly shined brightly. It was like a sea of blood had descended on the palm print. The sword paused for a moment when it collided with the palm print, before slicing it in half. The palm print suddenly collapsed, but the green gas didn't dissipate. It condensed into a ball and was able to return into the rift in the sky. Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes. There was a salty taste in his mouth as blood flowed out from his mouth and eyes, but he held them back. His expression became cold as he flew up holding the blood sword. As the green ball of gas flew toward the rift, Wang Lin mercilessly reached toward it. "Come down!" The world trembled, and a giant illusory palm appeared and grabbed the ball of green gas. The moment the green gas was caught by Wang Lin, the rift in the sky immediately closed and disappeared. The darkness disappeared and light returned to the earth. Wang Lin's expression was gloomy as he appeared in the cave holding the ball of green gas. What he saw caused him to frown. The woman in silver had passed out and her face was ashen. Her body was unconsciously trembling and she was still muttering. "It wasn't me, it wasn't me who opened the door, it wasn't me." With a gloomy expression, Wang Lin arrived next to the woman. His left hand formed many restrictions that landed on the woman. After doing all of this, he was still frowning as he looked at the green gas in his right hand. This is another force outside of origin energy. This isn't the power of Joss flames or essence, but it's very similar to essence. What exactly is it? Does it have anything to do with that statue? This woman in silver has too many secrets. What exactly is her identity? One of the 8 ancient imperial concubines Wang Lin couldn't figure it out. This woman said that Joss flame is poisonous. At first I thought she had cultivated Joss flames and ended up like this due to it. However, looking at it now, it doesn't seem that simple. Could it be that she knew Joss flame was poisonous before she cultivated it? There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes as he stared at the unconscious woman. After a long time, he raised his hand and pressed it down on her forehead. He used the soul search spell he still hadn't used on her. "There is no hatred between us, and I don't intend to hurt you. However, you have too many secrets that are important to me. With my cultivation level, as long as I am careful, I won't damage your mind while using soul search." Wang Lin's eyes closed as his divine sense entered the woman's forehead through his right hand. Tonight there will be 2 to 3 new chapters. Leo will do his utmost to make up for the chapters missing from the last 2 days. Chapter 1394. 7 colors again. 2. The woman's mind was cloudy, and there were flashes of green light inside. Wang Lin's divine sense swept through it, trying to find her memories. However, no matter how much he searched, he couldn't find anything relating to her memories. This place was extremely cloudy. As his divine sense was spread out, an unknown amount of time passed. Wang Lin's divine sense suddenly began to gather from all directions toward an area surrounded by green fog. The light from the green fog here was weak, and after circling it a few times, Wang Lin's divine sense slowly extended inside. Just as he entered, the green light from the fog increased and shot toward Wang Lin's divine sense. This green light was extremely similar to the green gas Wang Lin had just faced outside. As the large amount of green light arrived from all sides, Wang Lin's divine was like silk, avoiding all the green light as he continued to move forward. The deeper he went, the more green light there was. In the end, it was so dense that it formed a net and closed in on Wang Lin's divine sense without giving him a chance to escape. Wang Lin's divine sense shrank rapidly, and all the divine sense that had entered here condensed into a needle. The moment the green light closed in, his divine sense shot out and collided with the green light. Thunderous rumbles echoed. In the cave, Wang Lin still had his hand placed on the woman's forehead. His eyes were closed and his face turned pale as blood flowed down from the corner of his mouth. However, his eyes remained closed. Inside the woman's mind, most of Wang Lin's divine sense had dissipated by the time he broke through the green light. The remaining divine sense charged into the depths of this cloudy area. More green light arrived, but Wang Lin's divine sense moved around, and in the end arrived at the deepest part of this green fog. The moment Wang Lin entered the depths, his divine sense trembled and he saw something shocking that he could never forget. Deep within the green fog sat a person. This person wore a 7-colored robe, and was a middle-aged man. As he sat here, he gave off 7-colored light. He wasn't in origin soul or real but was formed by a seal. Inside the cave, Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes, feeling shocked. He moved his right hand from her forehead. Although he didn't find her memory, his gains were great. The figure in the woman's mind is exactly the same as the statue, Wang Lin silently pondered. It's 7 colors again the moment he saw the figure. He first thought of the sovereign. However, he dropped the idea immediately. Although the sovereign was strong, he was not strong enough to make Wang Lin terrified just as a statue. He had seen third-step cultivators before. Tao Master Blue Dream's cultivation level was really close to the sovereign's, so Wang Lin could tell the difference quite easily. 7 colors during my cultivation life. I have encountered the 7 colors many times. The Alzir likes the 7 colors, and the sovereign also has the 7 colors. There is also the spells that are 7-colored, and the 7-colored realm, where the Tao fruit was. There is also the 7-colored god Void Nail. Wang Lin had a feeling that there was a great secret hidden in the 7 colors. There is also the green gas and green light. Could they be part of the 7 colors? Wang Lin frowned, and after a long time he let out a sigh. He waved his sleeve and put the woman in silver back into his storage space. This matter is too unfathomable for me. It is pointless to think about it now. I should refine Greed's treasure and obtain the Fire Sparrow clan's essence. Wang Lin pondered a bit, and then no longer thought about the statue. Instead, he took out Greed's treasures to refine and research. 99 hollow crystal swords. Greed obtained this from a boulder with the head of an ancient demon. In his memory, the eyes of this head didn't have any stars. The 99 swords were stained in blood and formed a sword formation. Wang Lin waved his right hand, and the 99 swords immediately surrounded him, each giving off powerful cold energy. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and his divine sense swept out. He carefully examined each of the 99 swords. They are indeed treasures of ancient demons, and they contain powerful demonic energy. It might not display its full power in my hands, but if my second avatar is complete, and I use it as an ancient demon, the power would not be ordinary. This treasure, should I keep it or refine it? Wang Lin pondered a bit before waving his right hand. He left his divine sense imprint and restrictions on the swords before putting them away inside his storage space. If I refine them, the demonic energy inside will be wasted. Once I return to the inner realm, the second avatar can absorb it. Unfortunately, my connection to my second avatar is being blocked by the sealed realm formation, or else I could transfer it now. I want to know how my second avatar is doing after all these years. Wang Lin silently took out the second treasure, the protection bone tablets. The 9 tablets surrounded him and gave off an aura Wang Lin was familiar with. This was the aura of the ancient gods. He lifted his right and touched a stone tablet. In Greed's memory, he obtained them from a boulder that had the head of an ancient god on it. That ancient god head looked very young. It didn't seem to be an adult. The anger and confusion had lingered for an eternity in his eyes. The material of these stone tablets, they are made out of the bones of my ancient god clan. However, it wasn't made out of malice, but from the bones of an ancestor who died and willingly gave out their remains to be refined as treasures. Otherwise, there would be powerful resentment coming from it, and it would not be this calm. Greed only used this treasure as protection, and wasn't able to activate the hidden ancient god spell inside. Wang Lin waved his right hand, and the 9 tablets began to shine. Powerful ancient god aura erupted from the 9 tablets as they rotated around Wang Lin. In the end, they shrank until they condensed around Wang Lin's right arm. The 9 tablets fused into one and turned into a gauntlet. This gauntlet was grayish-white, looking as if it was a piece of bone. It wrapped around his fist so that his fist was now one size larger. It even wrapped around his fingers, so when he formed a fist, there would be crackling sounds. There were also many damage marks on it. There were sword marks and cracks, representing all the battles the young ancient god had fought. There is also an ancient god spell hidden inside this treasure, just like the green shield. It's a life-saving spell. Unfortunately, it wasn't able to save the life of that ancient god. Wang Lin had a complicated expression on his face as his ancient god energy rushed into the gauntlet. 8-star ancient god spell, ancestral protection. This spell is not in Tusi's memory. Wang Lin was immersed in the spell inside the gauntlet, and only awakened after 15 minutes. If this spell is used with the light and shadow shield, it will be extremely powerful. After looking at his right hand with a thought, the gauntlet melted and fused with his body. He raised his hand and reached at the void. The third treasure appeared, Emperor Furnace. When Wang Lin first saw the Emperor Furnace, his heart skipped a beat. This was an aura he was very familiar with. It was an aura unique to royal ancient gods, and only royal ancient gods could feel it. I didn't expect greed to obtain a royal ancient god treasure. Although it wasn't passed down by inheritance and was refined by someone else, it indeed is a royal ancient god treasure. Wang Lin's eyes were filled with joy as he looked at the Emperor Furnace, and the ancient god stars rotated rapidly between his eyebrows. Then starlight fell on the Emperor Furnace. The furnace rumbled and began to spin. Eventually, starlight came out from the furnace and landed between Wang Lin's eyebrows. Its size rapidly shrank until it eventually fused with Wang Lin's first star. Tuo Sen had fused third-step cultivators into his stars, while Wang Lin fused treasures. These two methods were fundamentally different, so their paths were naturally different. Wang Lin's body trembled, and the ancient god power in his body rapidly increased. Popping sounds echoed in his body. This lasted for a long time before dissipating. His hair moved without any wind, and his body became stronger. Although it can compared to the blood sword or the heaven-splitting axe in the sealed realm formation, it is almost on par with Tusi's god-slaying spear. If I can completely refine it, its power will be endless. More importantly, its power is focused on refining. The joy in Wang Lin's eyes became even stronger. He waved his sleeve and took out the fourth treasure. It was the fog lance that constantly changed between real and fake. The moment the lance appeared, devilish energy filled the cave and mournful cries came out of it, making it more fierce. Ancient devil treasure. Unfortunately, I don't have an ancient devil avatar. If I did, I could display its full power. Ancient devil avatar. I think that if I can integrate all three clans, I can reach back to the power of the ancient order. Wang Lin stared at the devil lance and pondered. I cultivated the ancient god body myself. The ancient demon avatar was formed from the soul fragment and the worship from 13's clan, forming a power similar to Joss Flames. This made the ancient demon think it was me, so I didn't have to spend much effort to make it a part of myself. As for ancient devil, I might be able to create one myself. Of course, if I can catch one, it will be better. Wang Lin pondered as his right hand reached at the void and greed's devil soul bottle appeared before him. The moment the devil soul bottle appeared, the devilish energy in the cave increased greatly and countless devil shadows appeared. The devilish energy shrouded the entire planet. From afar, the Dark Scorpion Clan's planet was shrouded by a layer of devilish fog. It was extreme shocking. I can form a devilish body, but I can create a devil soul. Using that soul to control the ancient devil treasures would increase their power greatly. If there is a chance, I can possess an ancient devil body and make it my third avatar. However, what are the chances of success? Wang Lin stared at the devil soul bottle, and hesitation appeared in his eyes. Good night, everyone. We will meet again tomorrow. Just wait a moment. Remember to like the video. Chapter 13, The Elder. He walked closer. Under careful inspection, he noticed that even the purple flowers across from the blue grass had withered, but not as badly as the blue grass. He clearly remembered that the herbs were still healthy and strong at noon. How could they become like this in just one afternoon? He picked up the blue grass and inspected it. From the look of the blue grass, it seemed to have lost all its moisture, causing it to wilt. He touched the ground, but the ground was at the correct moisture for growing herbs. He was very confused. After a while, he suddenly thought, this afternoon only one person visited me. However, he is only an honorary disciple. How could he cause the herbs to wither? Thinking about it, he decided to look into this matter. Without saying a word, he flicked his sleeves and his body started flying. Shortly after, he arrived at the place honorary disciples got their work assigned. Eldest son shouted in a deep voice, "Which disciple here is in charge?" The voice was like thunder. The yellow-clothed disciple that was in charge quickly came over and kneeled on the ground, kowtowing nonstop. Eldest son impatiently said, "Do you have Wang Lin's registration?" Disciple Liu's heart skipped a beat. He would never have thought that such a high-ranking elder would ever come asking about that piece of trash, Wang Lin. He thought of the times he bullied Wang Lin, and his face paled. This disciple has brother Wang Lin's registration. Brother Wang loves to learn and is always serious with this work. This disciple has always looked to him as a role model. The elder son didn't too know whether to laugh or cry, but in his heart, he knew that this was good. The more nervous someone was when they talked to him meant the more they respected him. The title elder is in fact a really worthless title in the Hangyu sect. Almost all second-generation disciples are called elder by the honorary disciples, but all the inner disciples call him uncle master. Although he was respected in the eyes of the honorary disciples, he didn't have power in the second generation. Even the third generation didn't respect him much. Else he wouldn't be assigned the pointless job of managing the requests of honorary disciples wishing to visit home. Eldest son asked, "Which yard does Wang Lin live in?" At the Northern Earth Division S yard. Without waiting for him to finish, eldest son flew away on a rainbow toward the north and disappeared in a blink of an eye. Disciple Liu became even more nervous. His intestine almost turned green. He vowed that when he saw Wang Lin again, he must not ridicule him, but instead praise him, treat him like his own grandfather. After all, he was something an elder personally asked about. Elder son arrived at the Earth Division S yard and didn't see Wang Lin. He went to the registry to find Wang Lin's room number, then arrived at Wang Lin's room. Zhang Hu was still sleeping. He was snoring loudly and didn't even realize elder son was there. Elder son carefully examined the room. He frowned and muttered. He left very quickly. I'll inspect him once he is back. Wang Lin was walking in the mountain with the talisman on his leg. The talisman was really amazing. After putting it on his leg, he felt a stream of warmth fill his body. Gathered at his feet were dazzling white light, making him look like an immortal. When all the creatures in the mountains saw the white light, they all stayed away. None dared to come close. The fresh mountain air blew at Wang Lin's face. He was in a good mood as he quickly went home following the route from his memory. One night had passed, and it was the dawn of the next day. He took a mouthful of water from the gourd and was filled with energy again. He noticed he had already left the mountain. Once he reached the village, he would just have to follow the little road back home. Without stopping, he rapidly went forward. He entered a town when the sun was bright and the crowd was hustling and bustling. Wang Lin went around for a bit, buying gifts for his parents, then quickly left. When it was late, Wang Lin finally reached the village. He saw from afar a red flag with the word life on it in front of his house. Outside, there were many wagons. There was a bustling crowd. Wang Lin was stunned as he arrived at the front of his house. His arrival was too flashy. His relatives, who were here for his father's birthday, only saw a flash of white light as Wang Lin appeared. Everyone had a look of envy as they started their praises. Second brother, Wang Lin came back. "Just look at how handsome this kid is. He looks just like an immortal. Isn't he just so?" Even the immortals messed up and ended up regretting their decision and took Wang Lin as their disciple. In the future, our Wang family will depend on these 3 children. It was due to my old eyes that I wasn't able to see this kid's good points. But looking at him now, what part of him can compare to Wang Zhuo and Wang Hao? "Clearly a dragon amongst men. Good, good, good!" exclaimed Wang family's R&D eldest uncle, as if he forgot all the vile things he had said before. This kid Wang Lin has always been smart since he was a kid. I have to say, even the immortals made a mistake last time, so how could us mortals not make a mistake? Wang Lin, I hope you don't hate your 5th uncle. Your 5th uncle apologizes to you. All the relatives changed their expressions and revealed kind and smiling faces. Wang Lin coldly snorted to himself. At that moment, his father appeared and was surprised as he pulled Wang Lin's arm. "Taiju, why did you come back? Didn't I tell you to stay at the Hangyu sect? Don't always worry about home?" Wang Lin looked at his dad and saw his dad's wrinkles had lessened a lot. He was obviously very happy these days. Dad, don't you worry. All the disciples of the sect have 3 chances to visit home a year. Once your birthday is over, I'll quickly head back. Wang Lin's dad proudly looked at the relatives around him and pulled Wang Lin to the door yelling, "Wife, look who is back." Wang Lin's mother was surrounded by a group of female relatives. When she heard her husband's voice, she looked toward him and was surprised to see Wang Lin. She rushed over and started asking about how he had been. 4,000 words in a major chapter. Read an extra 1,000 words, wishing for the like button on the video to help. Chapter Pseudo-Core Formation Stage. The flying swords were fast, but the earth escape technique was even faster. Wang Lin trailed them from a distance as the 100-plus cultivators flew across the sky and arrived at the location of the spirit vein. There were powerful spiritual energy fluctuations coming from the many holes on the ground. There were limbs all over the place, and a strong stench of blood covered the area. The moment the 100 cultivators arrived, countless cultivators from Hufen appeared, and the battle began. At the same time, 8 rays of light charged in, and a powerful aura surrounded the area. Wang Lin's eyes squinted. Those 8 were all nascent soul cultivators. The moment they came close, they were targeted by the patrolling nascent soul cultivators of Hufen. Nascent soul cultivators from both sides began fighting. The earth shook and the sky changed colors. Shortly after, 100 more teams appeared in the distance and joined this battle. Wang Lin's eyes became cold. After looking for a while, his G-Realm divine sense shot out from the ground and charged into the battlefield. A Foundation Establishment disciple of Xuan Wu had just killed a TH-layer disciple of Hu Fen. Just as he was about to attack again, a red light flashed past him. He felt like his head was hit with a giant hammer and lost consciousness. His soul was destroyed without any resistance, and he fell from the sky. 8 Foundation Establishment cultivators of Xuan Wu used a sword formation to trap a core formation cultivator of Hu Fen, but after a red light flashed by, the 8 of them trembled and their faces froze. They felt their souls being stirred into a mess and lose their shapes as their bodies fell from the sky. The trapped core formation cultivator was startled, but the current situation didn't give him time to think as he charged toward the enemies. After a pseudo-core formation cultivator of Xuan Wu killed several cultivators of the same level with the help of a nascent soul rank flying sword, he grabbed the neck of a female early-stage Foundation Establishment cultivator. He ripped off her clothes, revealing her pink pocket. She let out a scream which sounded very weak in this messy battle. The pseudo-core formation cultivator licked his lips. His eyes revealed an evil look as he quickly backed up with the female cultivator in his hand. However, a red light flashed by him and his body trembled. He let go of the female cultivator and his body fell from the sky. After he died, not only did his flying sword not stop, it charged toward the ground. Just as it got near the ground, a hand came out, grabbed the sword, and retreated back into the ground. As more and more Foundation Establishment cultivators from Xuan Wu fell from the sky for seemingly no reason, the cultivators of Xuan Wu began to pay close attention to this matter. A purple-robed core formation cultivator from Xuan Wu stared at the ground and pointed with his finger. He used some unknown method to send out a message. Then, 10 late-stage Foundation Establishment cultivators charged toward that direction. Wang Lin's expression was calm. He turned around to leave at a leisurely pace using the Earth Escape technique. One of the 10 cultivators held a compass and chased after Wang Lin. After moving more than 10 kilometers, Wang Lin stopped and sent out his Ji-Realm. Before Foundation Establishment cultivators, Wang Lin was king, with full control over their lives and deaths. The 10 of them didn't even have time to react as their souls were destroyed. The current Wang Lin no longer had the naive nature or the kind heart of a village boy. He would now kill anyone who dared to get in his way. There was no right or wrong on the battlefield, only life and death. If he had a sliver of pity, then the person to die would be him. Along with the power that the G-Realm had brought him, it also quietly changed his nature. The G-Realm focused on the extremes. If the user planned to walk the path of good, then he would be a hero of the generation who would fight all evil. If one walked the path of evil, then that person would definitely be a demon king. Evil enough to even cause the demonic cultivators to fear him and be worthy of the title of Demon King. Under the influence of the G-Realm, it was impossible to have a personality that switched between good and evil. Wang Lin, with his honest personality, wanted to become an immortal hero and create a righteous path to honor his ancestors. Unfortunately, Situnan's appearance caused his personality to slowly change, which eventually led to disaster. What family was there to honor when his family had been wiped out? The G realm caused his personality to change. Since he couldn't become a hero of his generation, then he would become a demon king. Wang Lin's eyes were emotionless as he collected the bags of holding without even looking at the bodies. He returned to the ground and headed toward a different part of the battlefield. But soon, he came out again. He looked at the battlefield, then took out a few spirit stones, formed a formation, and threw the 10 bodies inside it. Each body exploded into a bloody pulp before being absorbed by the formation. When the last body exploded, Wang Lin bit the tip of his finger and flicked a drop of blood onto a spirit stone. Suddenly, a sliver of purple smoke came out of the formation and circled it once. The purple smoke disappeared along with the spirit stones. If one didn't look carefully, they wouldn't notice any difference. After finishing all of that, Wang Lin sank back into the ground and returned to the battlefield. The battle had become even more tense as everyone was engaged in the fight. The battle between the nascent soul cultivators also became more intense, forcing the rest of the cultivators to avoid them. Just at this moment, Foundation Establishment cultivators of Xuanwu started to mysteriously fall from the sky. Their bodies became bloody messes as they hit the ground. As more and more Foundation Establishment cultivators of Xuanwu died due to mysterious circumstances, the cultivators of Xuanwu panicked. The cultivators of Hufen took this opportunity to attack. The purple-robed middle-aged man who had sent the 10 Foundation Establishment cultivators to kill Wang Lin frowned. His eyes swept the ground like lightning before locking onto a spot on the ground. He pointed at the location, and an early-stage core formation cultivator charged out without a word. The moment the core formation cultivator charged over, Wang Lin quickly escaped. The core formation cultivator sneered as he slammed his hand into the ground. A huge handprint appeared on the ground, forcing Wang Lin to come out. Wang Lin came out from underground and quickly ran toward the formation he had set up. The core formation cultivator revealed a mocking smile. He believed that Wang Lin was only able to kill so many Foundation Establishment cultivators because he was using a powerful magic treasure. He thought that with a bit of caution, he could easily kill Wang Lin. With that in mind, he waved his hand and a golden awl appeared before him. It paused for a moment before lunging toward Wang Lin. The Audiobook's speed was too quick. It created ripples in the air as it traveled. Wang Lin didn't even turn his head as he threw out the treasure passed out by Ho Fen. The treasure turned into a silver fist and attacked the awl. The moment they collided, the awl spun even faster and pierced through the silver fist. The awl dimmed, but it didn't slow down. It continued to chase Wang Lin. Wang Lin was calm. As the awl caught up to him, he jumped into the ground again. He activated the earth escape technique to move a few dozen meters before coming out again. Wang Lin did this several times before arriving at the formation he had laid down. The core formation cultivator casually caught up. His eyes were filled with disdain as he shouted, "You little rat! Do you have no other ability besides ambushing people?" Wang Lin didn't say a word. He charged through the formation without pausing. After going past it, he stopped and turned around to see the core formation cultivator above the formation. Wang Lin's eyes became cold and he shouted, "Open!" The moment he shouted that word, purple smoke came out of the formation and trapped the core formation cultivator inside. If someone were to look from a distance, they would be unable to see what was going on through the thick purple smoke. Wang Lin sat down cross-legged and sneered as he threw out the treasure Yang Sen had gifted him. Suddenly, a ring of energy came out from the treasure and surrounded Wang Lin. The awl hit the ring of energy, but it only caused it to ripple slightly. Wang Lin didn't even pay attention to the awl as he stared at the purple smoke and took out his flying sword. After he touched the sword, red smoke escaped from it and the devil appeared. The devil stared at the purple smoke with greed in his eyes. He wanted to go devour the person inside, but he was hesitant because of Wang Lin. Wang Lin took a deep breath and closed his eyes without a word. Rays of red light came together to form a red cloud, which charged out of Wang Lin's consciousness. This was the first time the G realm had gone all out and left Wang Lin's body. The moment the devil saw the red cloud, his face became filled with fear, and he stepped off to the side. The red cloud immediately turned into a circle and circled the devil once before dragging it into the purple smoke. The core formation cultivator sat cross-legged inside the formation with a dark expression on his face. There was a gourd floating around the cultivator. It was slowly absorbing the purple smoke. This was a very vicious formation called heaven-devouring demon formation. The key ingredients were the bodies of cultivators to use as the base of the formation. Wang Lin used 10 foundation establishment cultivators to set up this formation, so it wasn't too big of a deal to trap a core formation cultivator for a while. If he had the bodies of core formation cultivators, then he would only need 5 to kill any mid-stage or lower core formation cultivator. But this formation had a high requirement for the bodies. He had to have killed the people himself, making this formation very inconvenient to use. The moment Wang Lin SG Realm Divine Sense entered the purple cage, the core formation cultivator noticed that something was off and opened his eyes. Wang Lin quickly charged into the core formation cultivator's consciousness with the devil, while completely ignoring the gourd. Inside the core formation cultivator's consciousness, the cultivator's soul took the form of a giant and angrily roared at Wang Lin. The G-Realm Divine Sense activated its full power against the cultivator's soul. Wang Lin commanded the red cloud to send out countless bolts of red lightning to attack the core formation cultivator's soul. The giant revealed a painful expression and his body shrank. He quickly waved his hand, and a chunk of red lightning was split in half. Shortly after, the red cloud turned into more red lightning bolts, and once again charged toward the giant. The giant's body became smaller and smaller, but his fists became more and more deadly. Every time he punched, a large number of red lightning bolts were destroyed. With Wang Lin's cultivation level, he could barely handle early-stage core formation cultivators. If he were at the pseudo-core formation stage, it would be much easier for him. But Wang Lin was not a reckless person. Why would he take a fight he only had a chance of winning? As the fight reached its peak, the devil received an order from Wang Lin and reluctantly attacked. The giant panicked. He immediately hit the devil with his hand, and the devil shattered into pieces. The giant let out a sigh of relief before panic filled his face again. He saw the devil reappear on his hand. The devil began taking large bites out of his soul. No matter how hard the giant swung his arm around, the devil clung onto him like it was part of his body. Eventually, the giant gave up on fighting the red lightning and used his other hand to constantly smash the devil. Every strike would cause the devil's body to dim a bit, but the devil not only never let go, it began to devour even faster. The truth was, the devil was also in a pretty sorry state. If he were to let go now, Wang Lin would surely kill him. If he let go, he would die, but if he held on, there would be a chance for him to survive. If he could devour this core formation cultivator, there would be a chance for him to become powerful enough to deal with Wang Lin. Once he deals with Wang Lin, he will be free to do as he pleases. With that idea in mind, the devil became determined and started to devour even faster. It can be said that the devil focused all of his power on devouring. The giant began to weaken. His strikes became weaker and weaker. His giant body rapidly shrank until it became a smaller golden soul which was devoured by the devil. The devil revealed a look of ecstasy as he attempted to quickly devour this soul, but the red cloud suddenly surrounded the devil. The devil let out frustrated roars as it slowly spat out the core formation cultivator's soul. After having passed through the devil's body, the soul's consciousness had been wiped out. It had become divine sense without an owner. Wang Lin controlled his G-realm to leave the collapsing consciousness with the divine sense and return to his body. Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes and let out a cold smile. The core formation cultivator's divine sense was floating in his consciousness and being slowly devoured by his GI realm. The golden awl attacking Wang Lin lost its glow and fell to the ground. Wang Lin put away the treasure that had been protecting him. He grabbed the awl and, after examining it, put it away. Then he walked forward and stopped at a corner of the formation. He dug out a piece of spirit stone from underground and crushed it. The purple smoke dissipated, revealing the corpse of the core formation cultivator. Wang Lin stood next to the corpse. His hand pointed at the corpse's brow and he shouted, "Come out now or I'll immediately kill you!" A ray of red light unwillingly came out of the cultivator's head and turned into the shape of the devil. His eyes were filled with hatred, but he soon let out a sigh and obediently returned to the flying sword in Wang Lin's bag of holding. Wang Lin stared at the cultivator's body. Ideas flashed through his mind. He took the cultivator S-bag of holding and waved his hand. The body was lit on fire and burned to ashes, but within the ashes there was a shiny golden core. The golden core was rapidly shrinking and its color was becoming dim. It seemed like it was about to disappear. Wang Lin grabbed the golden core and put it into his mouth without any hesitation. He then took a step back and sunk into the ground. Wang Lin sunk more than 1,000 feet into the ground and sat down cross-legged. He began digesting the core. The core immediately dissipated and spiritual energy surged through his body. This spiritual energy was too powerful for Wang Lin's body to handle, so he bled out of his mouth and nose. Wang Lin pointed at his brow, and the heaven-defying bead appeared. He grabbed it and disappeared into the heaven-defying bead's space. Inside the heaven-defying space, Wang Lin immediately flew to Situ Nan's nascent soul and began to cultivate. He began bleeding all over his body and his veins began to show through his skin. Wang Lin's hands formed a seal. He entered a weird position where one hand was on his forehead and the other on his stomach. This formed a complete loop. The large amount of spiritual energy rapidly cycled through his body, and with each cycle it would strengthen his body. After 2 months had passed inside the heaven-defying bead, Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes. However, his eyes were cloudy and it took some time before they became clear again. The jade from the evil demon sect said that one can raise their cultivation level by devouring cores. This seems to be true as long as I follow the seal and chant in the jade. Sadly, I have to use the same cultivation method as them to absorb more than of the core's spiritual energy. Right now, I can only absorb. Wang Lin stood up and checked his cultivation. He secretly thought, I only absorbed of the core's spiritual energy. Yet it allowed me to break past the mid-stage of foundation establishment into the peak of the late stage of foundation establishment, putting me at the pseudo-core formation stage. The 2 months in the heaven-defying space were like 10 days outside. Once Wang Lin left the heaven-defying bead, he immediately moved away with the earth escape technique. It was currently late at night. Wang Lin arrived at the scene of the battle. There were many corpses strewn about and the spirit vein had been pulled out of the ground by someone, leaving a bottomless chasm. After checking for a bit, he quickly charged toward the mountain the Hofen Union was at. Once he arrived at the foot of the mountain, he came out of the ground and jumped on his flying sword. There were a lot of cultivators patrolling the area, but once they saw the jade Wang Lin used to record his kill count, none of them stopped him. Wang Lin went straight to one of the side buildings at the mountaintop. This was where Fen Luo had summoned him last time. There are 2 female core formation cultivators cultivating outside. They opened their eyes as he walked toward them, but when they noticed that it was Wang Lin, they closed them again. Wang Lin stood outside the building and loudly said, "Disciple greets master. Come inside." Fen Luo's gentle voice came from inside the building. Wang Lin walked in without a word and saw Fen Luo sitting on a stone bench. There was another person beside her, Yang Sen. He nodded at Wang Lin before turning his gaze back outside and furrowing his brow. Feng Lu's expression seemed tired as she looked at Wang Lin and asked, "What is it?" Wang Lin didn't say a word. He only threw out the jade. Feng Lu was startled. She hadn't checked the jade yet, only Wang Lin. After her divine sense entered the jade, her expression became strange. Yang Sen took the jade from Feng Lu and scanned it with his divine sense. His face brightened up and he smiled. "Not bad. You killed foundation establishment cultivators and 1 core formation cultivator. If you can continue this, then you have a chance of getting the distant heaven pill. But I am very curious. You were only at the mid-stage of foundation establishment before. How did you reach the pseudo-core formation stage so quickly? And even so, it should be almost impossible for you to kill a core formation cultivator. How did you do it?" Near the end, his voice became more serious. Wang Lin had already expected these questions before he came here. His expression was calm as he plainly said, that core formation cultivator was already heavily wounded by other people before escaping. I was lucky to catch him off guard and took his core. Then I used the evil demon sect S technique to devour his core to reach the pseudo-core formation stage. Devouring technique. Yang Sen's eyes pierced through Wang Lin. He noticed the trace of core spiritual energy inside him. This made him believe Wang Lin's story a bit and he remained silent. Feng Lu shot Wang Lin a meaningful look, then threw the jade back to him. She said, "This is the second piece of the map. I'll count that core formation cultivator as 10 foundation establishment cultivators. If you manage to kill foundation establishment cultivators, then you can come to me for the third piece. Wang Lin nodded. He checked the jade with his divine sense and found that it was indeed the map. If he were to combine the two maps, then he would have a clear understanding of Hofen's surroundings. Hofen bordered the Sea of Devils. According to the map, there was no Zhao around Hofen. According to the description on the map, there was another continent on the other side of the Sea of Devils. He believed that on the third piece, there would be some information on that other continent. There was also a detailed description of the Sea of Devils, but Wang Lin didn't pay much attention to it as he withdrew his divine sense. Xianxia looked at Wang Lin in a favorable light and said, "The cultivators of Xuanwu have gathered together for a big fight. If you want to get credit, then this will be your best chance." Wang Lin was about to speak when a scream suddenly came from outside. Yang Sen and Feng Lu immediately disappeared as they charged outside. Wang Lin quickly walked out and saw a nascent soul that had many wounds. It was leaking spiritual energy everywhere. The nascent soul said, "Fellow cultivators, the country's sealing array has been broken. The fire beasts are on their way. Brothers, have you not yet hit the like button for the VIDEO? Wish that the like button for the VIDEO would be hit." Chapter 1395. Wind Rises. A moment later, Wang Lin's eyes were filled with determination and his right hand pointed at the Devil Soul bottle. The bottle immediately let out a mournful roar. This roar seemed to contain a penetrating force and directly entered Wang Lin's mind. Even the power of a firefly would dare to compete with the bright moon. Wang Lin snorted, and his voice turned into ripples that collided with the mournful cries. Shortly after, black fog came out from the Devil Soul bottle. There were ancient devil souls struggling inside the black fog, and they immediately charged at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression remained calm. As the devil souls rushed at him, he waved his hand and a gust of wind swept past the devil souls. They were all trapped in his hand. "Tao spell. Fuse." Wang Lin's voice was calm, but it contained a sense of coldness. As his words echoed, his eyes revealed a strange light, and he immediately used Tao Master Blue Dream's Tao spell. Popping sounds echoed, and the devil souls began to let out mournful cries once more. They wanted to escape, but Wang Lin's hands were like a heavenly prison that they couldn't escape from. Wang Lin closed his eyes and focused his mind on fusing. Under the effects of the Tao spell, the countless devils were being fused together. Time slowly passed, and in the blink of an eye, 7 days went by. During these 7 days, Wang Lin had continuously used the Tao spell and didn't relax at all. On this day, the souls had fused together into a ball, and this ball gave off a ghostly light. This light got stronger and stronger until it lit up the whole cave. A violent aura came from the ball, and at the same time, a roar that sounded like sound of countless devils fused together echoed. "You want to refine my ancient devil clan? Impossible! Blood refining." Wang Lin's eyes suddenly opened and he bit the tip of his tongue. He spat out blood and it landed on the ball. This blood contained essence and was also Wang Lin's ancient god heart blood. The moment the blood landed on the ball let out a miserable scream. The ball became chaotic, as if it would collapse at any time. The ghostly light dissipated almost completely and was replaced by bloodlight. The bloodlight slowly circulated through the entire ball. It didn't take long for the ball to become blood red. Wang Lin relaxed a bit and his right hand reached out, grabbing the Devil Soul bottle. He spat out origin energy, and it entered the bottle. In an instant, large amounts of black fog flew out with countless devil souls. The moment they appeared, they were absorbed by the ball of blood. This ancient devil treasure contains 3,000 ancient devil souls. I'll fuse these 3,000 souls and form my ancient devil avatar. Wang Lin waved his sleeve, and then the cave became filled with fog. The fog was filled with devilish energy. Time slowly passed as Wang Lin refined the devil souls. 1 month went by. It was less than 1 month away from the fallen elder selection. Wang Lin had been in closed-door cultivation for 2 months. During these 2 months, a major event had occurred in the fallen land. On the edge of the fallen land, on an abandoned planet, the entire planet burst into flames. The fire was blue, and it shrouded the entire abandoned planet. However, this fire didn't last for too long. It dissipated after 8 minutes, and then everything returned to normal. However, just these 8 minutes caused the skins of all the fire cultivators in the fallen land to crawl. It didn't matter what they were doing. The moment the planet burst into flames, they were all shocked. The fire inside their bodies flew out of their bodies without their control. Their fire began to move toward that abandoned planet as if it were being summoned. This strange thing shocked all the fire cultivators. In particular, all the Fire Sparrow clan members felt a stronger sensation than the others. The elder that had traded with Wang Lin was cultivating when the fire in his body suddenly appeared and turned into a fire sparrow. It opened its wings and seemed like it was going to fly away, causing the elder's expression to change greatly. This matter caught the attention of the fire cultivators in the fallen land. The elder of the Fire Sparrow clan quickly left his closed-door cultivator and went to the abandoned planet with a few of his clan members. However, when he arrived, he didn't find anything, no matter how much he searched. However, he did feel a hint of essence that was the same as the one from the pills. Also, during these days, an event that shocked the entire clan took place in the Fire Sparrow clan. The 3 people who had escorted the drop of blood back from the fallen land had handed over the drop of blood. Then they waited there to be summoned again. They were anxious as they didn't know if this would catch the attention of the clan. In the vast star domain occupied by the Fire Sparrow clan, on the main planet, there were giant Fire Sparrow statues scattered across the planet. There was also one that was almost as high as the sky. There was a hall under the statue, and at this moment there was an old man sitting inside. The old man's face was red and covered in flames. He was the Fire Sparrow clan's patriarch. A drop of burning blood was floating before him. He stared at the blood with shock in his eyes. "This is essence." The old man's eyes shined, and then he suddenly stood up, grabbing the blood. He took a step and disappeared without a trace. When he reappeared, he was in the inner part of this cultivation planet. The inside of the planet had been hollowed out and was filled with a sea of fire. Even fire cultivators would find it difficult to bear the heat. This old man quickly moved through the sea of fire and soon arrived in the depths of the planet. The fire here was dark purple and looked terrifying. There was a flashing formation at the center of the purple fire, and inside the formation sat a middle-aged man. His clothes were also purple, and as he cultivated, a shocking aura was slowly circulating through his body. The old man seemed to be afraid of the dark purple fire. He stayed at the outer edge and respectfully said, "Junior requests to see ancestor." After the old man spoke, he remained motionless, waiting to be summoned. After a long time, the middle-aged man inside the sea of purple fire slowly opened his eyes. Each of his eyes contained a fire mark. Combined with the mark between his eyebrows, they formed a triangle. These were 3 fire marks, but the colors were all distinct. The fire mark between his eyebrows was purple, the fire mark in his right eye was blue, and the fire mark in his left eye was ethereal, as if it didn't exist. But if you looked closely, you would see traces of it. This ethereal fire seemed like it hadn't stabilized yet and was blurry. However, it was this trace of ethereal fire that shocked the old man, causing him to lower his head and no longer dare to take a second look. "Even though you read the clan as patriarch, without my summon, you can take half a step into the Holy Land. Did you forget?" The middle-aged man's voice was flat. The old man's face was covered in sweat as he licked his lips and whispered, "Ancestor, please don't be angry." Junior was anxious because some clan members found an extremely strange drop of blood, and I require ancestor to examine it. The middle-aged man's expression remained the same, as if nothing could cause his expression to change. The indifference in his eyes remained, and this coldness created a startling contrast with the fire in his eyes. This made him look even more strange. "You even messed up a small matter like this. I'm not satisfied with a clan patriarch like you. Take out the blood and leave. Punish yourself according to the 3rd clan law." The old man's face immediately turned pale. He wanted to explain, but the moment he saw the ancestor in the sea of purple fire, he nodded. He waved his right hand, and the drop of burning blood appeared. Then the old man lowered his head and left. The middle-aged man casually reached out and grabbed the drop of blood from the sea of purple fire. The drop of blood landed in his hand and he casually took a glance at it. However, this casual glance shocked him greatly, and he stared wide-eyed at the drop of blood. This is the calmness within the middle-aged man collapsed and was replaced by shock and disbelief. He quickly held the blood closer to his eyes, and his divine sense spread out. After scanning it hundreds of times, The shock in his eyes became even stronger. Vermilion bird blood. This is vermilion bird blood. The middle-aged man suddenly stood up and held the blood next to his mouth. After licking it, his body trembled once more. That's right. The essence inside the blood can be wrong. It is vermilion bird blood. Vermilion bird! The middle-aged man was excited, and his left hand reached at the void. The fire sparrow patriarch was about to leave the underground, his face full of remorse. He let out a sigh when a rumble suddenly came from behind him. He turned around and his pupils shrank as a giant fire palm grabbed him. In a flash, the hand brought the old man back to the edge of the sea of purple flames. Before the old man could react, he heard the ancestor's excited voice. "Where did you obtain this blood?" He froze for a moment. He had never seen the ancestor so excited. He quickly said, "A clan member from the fallen land brought it back." After the middle-aged man heard this, he began to laugh. There was ecstasy in his eyes, and even the 3 flame marks began to burn wildly. Good, good, good. You were worthy of being chosen as the clan patriarch by me. Good job. Immediately send all clan members and find the source of this blood in the fallen land at all costs. The fire sparrow patriarch quickly nodded and was about to leave. The middle-aged man's eyes lit up and he suppressed the excitement in his eyes. He said, "It's not convenient for me to go the fallen land, so I'll be outside to pick you all up. Also, be careful when you read there and check if this is a trap." Thank you all for the support, especially for the large golden gifts from Leo. Leo is so touched he could cry. By the end of this month, Leo's video is facing a challenge in the popular rankings, hoping to get more likes for the video. You are listening to a completely free audiobook on the Leo Audio YouTube channel. If you enjoy the story, please like the video to motivate the channel. Support Leo with a cup of coffee through the description link or on the screen. If you want to hear any other stories, just comment and let Leo know. Thank you very much for watching the video. Chapter 1396, Wave Surges. The dark scorpion planet was still surrounded by a layer of devilish energy. From afar, it looked extremely bizarre, and even the creatures on the planet were being affected. On this day, there were 6 more days until the fallen eldest election, and the devilish energy shrouding the planet began to change. The devilish energy rumbled loudly and all began to condense toward one location. This sudden change caught the attention of the Dark Scorpion clan and the Cloud Escape clan. Just as they spread out their divine senses to observe, they noticed that the dense devilish energy was all gathering toward Wang Lin's cave. It was as if a vortex had appeared inside the cave and was attracting all the devilish energy. In just an instant, all the devilish energy disappeared, sucked into Wang Lin's cave. From afar, it looked like a giant vortex had appeared, and the center of the vortex was Wang Lin's cave. The vortex rotated rapidly and rapidly contracted. It was done in a flash, so fast that people couldn't react to it. As the devilish energy gathered in Wang Lin's cave, a thick layer of fog that divine sense couldn't penetrate formed. The fog was still rapidly condensing. Wang Lin was sitting inside this fog, and before him floated a small red person. This small person was blurry and looked like an origin soul. It was more like a soul, and it looked extremely similar to Wang Lin. Except it gave off an aura of madness, and it was ferocious. At this moment, the small person opened his mouth and began to devour the devilish fog. After a moment, all the fog was devoured by the little person. The little person's body turned a bit more solid, but it seemed unsatisfied. He had a ferocious expression as he stared at Wang Lin. He let out a roar before pouncing. He seemed to even want to devour Wang Lin. When it pounced, Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes and revealed a cold gaze. His gaze was like a bolt of thunder, and it collided with the gaze of the little person. Scram! With a cold snort, the little person let out a miserable scream, but Wang Lin didn't use any spell. He was thrown back and landed on the ground. "I created you, so I can easily destroy you." Wang Lin stood up and reached out toward the little person. The little person revealed fear. When Wang Lin's right hand reached over, he trembled before collapsing into fog. The countless strands of fog escaped in all directions, and after escaping Wang Lin's grasp, it reformed outside the cave. As soon as it appeared, it turned into a cloud and escaped. It moved very fast and was about to disappear. Wang Lin's expression was calm, and he revealed a sneer. His right hand formed a seal and he blew out a breath. In an instant, a miserable scream echoed from the horizon. Shortly after, the little person flew back by himself and knelt down by himself. His body trembled and looked blurry, as if it could dissipate at any moment. Wang Lin's eyes were cold as he slowly said, "I just need one breath to destroy you." The devil soul little person trembled and quickly kowtowed as if it was begging for mercy. Wang Lin raised his right hand and reached at the void. The fog lance suddenly appeared and pointed at the devil soul. The devil soul and Wang Lin's mind were linked, and it revealed a look of hesitation. Wang Lin let out a cold snort. This devil soul trembled and turned into a ray of black light. It shot toward the fog devil lance and integrated with it. The moment it entered it, the fog devil lance seemed to gain a soul and gave off a terrifying aura. It turned into a black python and flew out of the cave. It stretched itself in the sky and let out a heaven-shaking roar. The Dark Scorpion clan members were all gobsmacked as they stared at the black python that was giving off endless pressure. They were completely shaken. The Cloud Escape clan members were the same. They stared at the black python in the sky in terror. A sense of fear appeared in their hearts. The black python contained unimaginable tyranny and madness. Its powerful bloodlust made it feel like every living thing in the world was its enemy. Zhong Big Red swallowed and excitement filled his eyes. He was different from Xu Liguo. The stronger Wang Lin was, the more glory he felt. He quickly knelt down and roared, "Master S treasure is complete. He is invincible." As the black python in the sky dissipated, its body gradually dissipated. It turned into a ray of black light that entered Wang Lin's body and disappeared. An extra devil soul appeared next to Wang Lin's origin soul. Its eyes were closed, and it was completely suppressed by Wang Lin's origin soul. It couldn't resist or struggle at all. Wang Lin's expression was calm, but there was a hint of joy in his heart. The devil soul avatar wasn't complete, but it had taken shape. After refining it many more times, it could become a real avatar. I wonder if I can return to the true form of the ancient order once my ancient god, devil, and demon avatars fuse like I expect them to. Wang Lin licked his lips and waved his right hand. Two treasures immediately appeared before him. A yellow leaf and a sealed treeman. In the Fallen Land, the Fallen Elder selection was a holy event. All the small clans that were qualified to compete were preparing. The location of the event was the most mysterious planet in the Fallen Land, the Great Emperor Planet. This planet was very famous in the ancient star system and was a focus of research of the Sovereign Council. The rumors of this planet spread far across the ancient star system. Anyone who personally saw the Great Emperor Planet wouldn't forget such a shocking sight. It has to be said that most cultivation planets in the ancient star system were spherical. Even though some were irregularly shaped, they were mostly round. This was a very strange phenomenon, and a lot of powerful cultivators tried to discover why this was so. However, in the end, they had only found some clues and weren't able to find the truth. It wasn't until the Sovereign Council announced the result of their research. It was a new law called the Law of Rotation. They believed that all planets were constantly rotating, and due to this rotation, all irregularly shaped planets would become round after a long time. However, this law changed completely when it came to the Great Emperor Planet. This planet was long, and from afar, it looked like the needle on a compass that was slowly rotating. No one knew why the Great Emperor Planet was like this. This was the Holy Land of the Fallen Land, and where the Great Emperor's cave was. Normally, there was an unimaginable tearing and magnetic force around the planet. Cultivators would find that their treasures had become useless here, and even their cultivations would be suppressed. Only during the selection of fallen elders would these forces weaken greatly, and several tunnels to enter the planet would appear. Aside from the more than 300 clans participating in the fallen elder selection, there would also be people from the ancient star system. Most of them were invited by these clans and would sometimes help in battle. The Great Emperor never cared about this, and this gradually became an unspoken rule. However, someone who wasn't from one of the clans of the Fallen Land couldn't become an elder, or else they would die. Every fallen elder selection, the Sovereign Council would send people to observe as guests. This was to show their recognition of the Fallen Council and pay respects to the Great Emperor. They also came here to observe and even support certain clans. Aside from the Sovereign Council, the Fallen Council would also send out invitations to invite powerful people in the ancient star system. The Great Emperor ignored all of this. It was as if the fallen elder selection was merely a festivity. Wang Lin moved to the Great Emperor planet with the Dark Scorpion clan and the Cloud Escape clan. A woman with long hair was standing on a giant octagonal compass outside of the fallen land. She was frowning, and no one knew what she was thinking about. Beside her was a middle-aged man. He was also looking ahead, and his expression was gloomy. Grandmaster Yun Luo, that great emperor, killed my avatar. What is the Sovereign Council's stance on this? There will be compensation, the long-haired woman whispered as she looked at the fallen land. She thought in her heart, to be sheltered by the great emperor. Now, I really want to see this person with my own eyes. I just dawned to know if he is the person mentioned in the Ancestor's prediction. In another part of the ancient star system, there was a soft, blue light. Dao Master Blue Dream was slowly walking with his hands behind his back. Li Chanmei silently followed behind him. Even further away, in a star domain where almost no one went to, there was a beast the size of a cultivation planet slowly moving. This beast was the shape of an ellipsis, and there were countless tentacles tens of thousands of feet long slowly swaying throughout its body. Moongazer Serpent! There was an old man wearing a white robe. He had an extremely bizarre appearance, and half of his face was black. His face was like an yin and yang symbol. Behind him stood three people that looked like servants. If Wang Lin saw them, he would find them extremely familiar. Yi Muzi, Wudo Chen, and the already dead Xianxia. One. They were people who got sucked into the void with the Moongazer Serpent. As time goes on, a heavy dizziness is setting in. My mind can't cope. Tomorrow I will continue to burst forth with all my might. In 12 hours that will be doubling the likes for the video, hoping that everyone is ready with 2 likes for Leo. Thank you. Chapter 1397. Thump. The day before the fallen elder selection, Wang Lin arrived outside the Great Emperor planet with the Dark Scorpion clan and the Cloud Escape clan. When Wang Lin saw this strange planet, his eyes narrowed. The Great Emperor planet was surrounded by a layer of illusion, as if it was being hidden by a layer of fog. However, there were big spatial rifts that would devour everything inside this illusory fog. There were also waves of gray lines moving within the illusory fog. If you looked closely, you would find they weren't real, but gave off waves of magnetic force. Before Wang Lin even got close, he felt an extremely shocking force inside the illusory fog. This power was heaven-shattering. It could cause cultivators' spells to disintegrate and their treasures to collapse. This wasn't man-made or the power of a treasure, but something created by heaven. Wang Lin's pupils shrank. He observed it for a long time as he floated outside the illusory fog. There was already a large amount of cultivators outside this illusory fog. There were hundreds of them scattered everywhere, and those that knew each other were chatting softly. Wang Lin's arrival drew some attention, and divine senses swept over. When they swept past the Dark Scorpion clan and the Escape Cloud clan, they all withdrew. As for Wang Lin, with his divine sense, very few people could see the real him. Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged, and he coldly stared ahead. Every single fallen elder selection is carried out at the Great Emperor planet, but it is normally not accessible. When everyone has been gathered, a tunnel opens from the inside to allow everyone in. We didn't come too late, so the tunnel should open soon, the Dark Scorpion Patriarch whispered to Wang Lin. Wang Lin nodded, and his gaze swept by the cultivators gathered here. There was no less than 10,000 cultivators. Although there were a lot of people, it was still insignificant in this vast space. I didn't think the Cloud Escape clan would take an interest in the Dark Scorpion clan, which always likes to be underground and be accepted as subordinates. Really interesting. A sharp voice came from the front. A middle-aged man in blue walked out from a group of nearly 1,000 cultivators. This man's appearance was ordinary, but his eyes were like venomous snakes. There was a coldness hidden in his eyes. There was a serpent mark between his eyebrows, making him look even more gloomy. His words were filled with ridicule, and he stopped moving when he spoke. His gaze swept past Wang Lin's group. The Dark Scorpion Patriarch's expression changed. He looked at the middle-aged man and let out a cold snort. The Dark Scorpion Patriarch whispered, "That is the Soul Serpent clan's head elder. During the last elder selection, they fought with the Cloud Escape clan. The result was a tie, and both were disqualified. They also had some friction in the past." The Cloud Escape Patriarch was naturally also standing next to Wang Lin. When he heard the Soul Serpent Clan's head elder's words, he remained calm and silently kept his head down. The Soul Serpent Clan's head elder smiled and slowly said, "Rumor has it that the Cloud Escape Clan invited Greed as an honorary elder. With Greed, I presume the Cloud Escape Clan will be set for a seat as a fallen elder. However, how come I don't see Senior Greed?" His voice wasn't loud, but it contained his cultivation, so it echoed. The 10,000 cultivators here were all from the clans in the Fallen Land. They had all come here to steal a spot in the Fallen Council, and it could be said that they were all enemies to each other. Obtaining more information would be a great help in obtaining an elder's seat. After hearing the words of the Soul Serpent Clan's head elder, everyone looked toward the Cloud Escape Clan. The name of Greed was very famous. Him helping the Cloud Escape Clan was enough to catch the attention of the other clans. This old man heard that fellow cultivator Greed had become an honorary elder of the Cloud Escape Clan. Fellow cultivator Greed helped me once before, so I wanted to visit him. Master Yundun, why has fellow cultivator Greed not come? The person who spoke was an old man in a purple robe. His face was pale, but his voice was loud. There were 3 arcs on his forehead. It was a water wave-like mark. The Cloud Escape Patriarch raised his head and looked at Wang Lin. Then he said in a cold voice, Senior Greed had to leave due to some urgent matter and one tea be coming. There's no need for all of you to guess. And lowered his head. This scene was seen by the old man who had spoken, and his pupils shrank. A branch of the 5-element clan, the patriarch of the River Creek clan. He is currently the elder. The dark scorpion patriarch next to Wang Lin said softly. Wang Lin's expression remained calm, and he nodded slightly. Who is talking about this old man's name? The River Creek patriarch, the TF Fallen Elder, said in a cold voice. His gaze was like lightning, and it fell on Wang Lin and the dark scorpion patriarch. The River Creek patriarch's eyes lit up, and he slowly said, Little Scorpion, why haven't you come and kneeled after seeing this old man? However, his gaze was locked onto Wang Lin. The expression of the dark scorpion patriarch changed greatly. To demand him to kneel before all these people was a great insult. The commotion caught the attention of the surrounding cultivators. They all looked over with the intent of watching a show. The middle-aged man from the Soul Serpent clan smiled and shook his head. Little Scorpion, even if you want to climb up, you should be careful of who you choose follow. However, I can blame you. Scorpions that only know how to hide underground are short-sighted. What? Still not coming over? That's good. You, come here and kneel. The TAE Fallen Elder, the River Creek Patriarch, pointed directly at Wang Lin. After he spoke, the dark scorpion patriarch's expression recovered, and he revealed a hint of ridicule. Not only him, but the Cloud Escape Patriarch also raised his head. There was mockery in his eyes and a deep, hidden sense of pride. Wang Lin smiled as he looked at old man and slowly said, What, we can say your name? The Thet Fallen Elder's eyes lit up. He saw how the Cloud Escape Patriarch looked at Wang Lin, and from the way they were standing, this person seemed to be in charge. This was why he had spoken. As the Thet Fallen Elder, in order to get reselected, he needed to show a display of might. Although the Dark Scorpion clan was small, the Cloud Escape clan was not. With Greed's reputation, they were the best choice to use to show off his might. As far as the old man knew, Wang Lin was someone appointed by Greed, so using Wang Lin to show off his might was the same as using Greed. However, the mockery in the eyes of the Dark Scorpion Patriarch and the Cloud Escape Patriarch made him feel like something bad was coming. This person must have been appointed by Greed. Although Greed is strong, I am a fallen elder, so there is nothing to fear. Thinking about this, the old man coldly snorted and said, Only people that are qualified can say it. I just want to know if you have the qualifications. The elders and patriarchs were all old foxes, so they more or less guessed the situation. They had all come to the same conclusion that Wang Lin was someone appointed by Greed to come here. You must not be from the Fallen Land. I advise you quickly kneel before me. Know that even your master, Greed, would have no choice but to kneel in this situation. The eyes of the head elder of the Soul Serpent clan lit up. It was he who had provoked this, and he was very happy to see the TH Fallen Elder target the Cloud Escape clan. Qualifications, Wang Lin smiled. Who dares to say Senior doesn't have the qualifications? A roar suddenly came from the distance. A burst of rumbles echoed and more than 1,000 rays of light rushed over here. The person at the lead was a young man, and beside him were elders who were at the Heaven-S Blight stage. They came with a powerful momentum and stood beside Wang Lin's group. The young man quickly stepped toward Wang Lin and clasped his hands. He was extremely respectful and loudly said, "Junior Armored Dragon Patriarch greets Senior." Behind him, the more than 1,000 Armored Dragon cultivators all looked at Wang Lin with respect and a hint of fear. They clasped their hands and said, "Greetings, Senior." This scene caused the expressions of all the cultivators here to change. Armored Dragon Clan. The 9th Elder S. Armored Dragon Clan. Rumor has it that the 9th Fallen Elder was stripped of his title a few months ago, and a new patriarch was chosen. This matter spread far and away. However, the reason for the removal of the 9th Elder was kept secret, so not many people know. Although the Armored Dragon Clan doesn't have many people, they are very powerful. They can be considered top 10 among the 372 clans in the Fallen Land. Who the hell is this person to make the Armored Dragon Clan greet him? Could it be he has nothing to do with greed? The middle-aged man from the Soul Serpent Clan was stunned, and his eyes lit up. The old man from the River Creek Clan became gloomy. He looked Wang Lin and the fear in the eyes of the Armored Dragon Clan members. A terrifying thought suddenly appeared in his heart. This guess immediately made the old man feel like a bucket of cold water had been dumped over him. His body trembled and his eyes were filled with terror and shock, along with a hint of disbelief. Impossible, I must be overthinking it. Just at this moment, the illusory fog formed by the magnetic force began to rumble. Then it began to expand and continue to spread. Then a passage was suddenly ripped open and revealed. Dozens of cold-looking cultivators came out of the passage. The person leading was the messenger that had appeared in the Armored Dragon Clan. He didn't even look at the surrounding people and flew toward Wang Lin. Seeing this, the The Fallen Elder felt his heart skip a beat. The second watch has come. So thankful for the praise from the new clan leader. Last night Leo started from the starting point, immediately saw a new follower. I'm ecstatic. Thank you, everyone. Chapter 1398. Cheeky little girl. The messenger flew at Wang Lin very fast. He instantly closed in on Wang Lin. When he was within 100 feet, he stopped and revealed a respectful smile. Then he clasped his hands and said, "Subordinate greets young emperor." Not only him, but the cultivators that came out of the passage quickly flew over as well. They also stopped 100 feet away and respectfully clasped their hands. "Greetings, young emperor." The entire area became completely silent. The hundreds of clans and 10,000 cultivators were silent. Their expressions suddenly changed as they stared at Wang Lin with shock and disbelief in their eyes. Young emperor was real. This matter had been announced by the great emperor a few months ago, but no one had seen him. This was the first time these cultivators had seen the young emperor in person. Young emperor? The middle-aged man from the Soul Serpent Clan turned pale and horror filled his eyes. His heart pounded rapidly, his mouth turned dry, and cold sweat appeared on his forehead. He stared at Wang Lin and was dumbfounded. There was also the The Fallen Elder. His expression changed greatly and he subconsciously took a few steps back. His mind trembled and his eyes were filled with fear. He would never have expected his guess to be true. When I saw the Armored Dragon Clan, I should have realized it. The 9th Fallen Elder was stripped of his title due to offending this person. I tried to use him to show my might. The River Creek Patriarch trembled and licked his dried lips. He began to panic in his heart. The messenger began to respectfully explain, "I made young emperor wait long. It takes a while to open this passage, so it took some time." After he spoke, the surrounding 10,000 cultivators reacted. The actual time to open the passage hadn't arrived. They should have had to wait a few more hours for it to open. To open the passage early, this young emperor. In the Fallen Land there have only been 2 young emperor, and now a third one has appeared. This third young emperor must be valued even more than the previous 2, or else the passage wouldn't be open early. This kind of thing has never happened before. Hey, the Fallen Elder is really blind to provoke the young emperor. I want to see how he intends to deal with this. There is also the Soul Serpent Clan's head elder. I fear he will also suffer. The words of the messenger had set off a huge wave in the hearts of the surrounding cultivators. Wang Lin calmly nodded at the cultivators before him. "Young emperor, please enter the great emperor planet." The messenger respectfully stepped to the side and made way. Wang Lin slowly walked forward into the passage that had opened up, accompanied by the messenger. After seeing this, the fallen elder relaxed. He felt that Wang Lin wasn't the vengeful type and wouldn't make it difficult on him. No matter what, he was still a fallen elder. Even if the other party was the young emperor, he would still have to give a fallen elder some face. Maybe he could even use this method to earn a favor. This person is benevolent. Although he is the young emperor, he is an easily bullied man just as he thought he was lucky. His pupils shrank. Just as Wang Lin took a few steps, he suddenly turned around and looked at the middle-aged man from the Soul Serpent clan. Wang Lin's gaze was cold. The moment it landed on the middle-aged man, his body trembled, and more cold sweat appeared. He felt as if Wang Lin's gaze could pierce through his mind and was filled with coldness. The messenger beside Wang Lin also stopped and revealed a hint of doubt. He also looked at the middle-aged man from the Soul Serpent clan, and his expression became gloomy. "Capture him." The messenger's voice was cold. In an instant, the people around him rushed forward toward the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man from the Soul Serpent clan revealed a look of despair. The expression of the Soul Serpent clan members behind him changed greatly, and they were filled with fear. His sin doesn't deserve death, but the Soul Serpent clan is stripped of their right to participate in the fallen elder selection. Wang Lin's voice was low, but it clearly echoed in the ears of the surrounding cultivators. The cultivators charging at the middle-aged man stopped and retreated behind Wang Lin, without any hesitation. The middle-aged man from the Soul Serpent clan was pale, and when he heard Wang Lin's words, he trembled once more. Even more despair filled his eyes. Those words were several times worse than killing him. It has to be said that even if he died, it would just be one person. Although he was saved, he had become the sinner of the entire clan. The middle-aged man clasped his hands and bitterly smiled. "Thank you, young emperor, for having mercy." Wang Lin's attention drifted away from him, and his gaze fell on the River Creek patriarch, the fallen elder. The fallen elder's heart skipped a beat and his face turned ashen. Wang Lin pointed at the fallen elder and slowly said to the messenger, "Strip him of his fallen elder status and make him kneel on the dark scorpion planet for 100 years. The messenger hesitated for a moment, but when he saw the coldness flashing through Wang Lin's eyes, he nodded. The River Creek clan loses their spot in the fallen elder selection. After Wang Lin finished speaking, he looked at the Cloud Escape patriarch not far away and said, "Break one of your arms. And don't let it happen again." The Cloud Escape patriarch felt cold sweat appear on his forehead. He knew that Wang Lin was powerful, and he had intentionally glanced at Wang Lin to make the fallen elder provoke Wang Lin. He didn't expect Wang Lin to notice his intention. At this moment, he clenched his teeth, his right hand formed a sword, and he pointed at his left shoulder without hesitation. With a bang, all the meridians in his left arm were broken. The Cloud Escape patriarch's face was deathly pale as he softly said, "Thank you, young emperor, for showing mercy. Junior knows his wrongdoing." Wang Lin turned around and calmly walked into the passage. The surroundings were even more silent. The gazes of the 10,000 cultivators gathered on Wang Lin, and their minds were shaken. However, some people felt disdain toward Wang Lin's behavior and felt that he was nothing without his backing. If this person wasn't the young emperor, he wouldn't be so arrogant. There isn't just one young emperor. He came to the Great Emperor planet to participate in the Young Emperor trial. Only by successfully passing it can he become a true young emperor. That's right, the Young Emperor trial is extremely difficult. Over the years, there were many qualified participants, and although they weren't appointed by the Great Emperor personally, none of them passed. Even though he was appointed personally by the Great Emperor, it will be difficult for him to pass. The duty of the Young Emperor is very important. They can even take over the place of the Great Emperor to rule the entire fallen land. Even the Sovereign Council has to be respectful toward the young emperor. The messenger followed Wang Lin and gradually closed in on the passage. Just as he entered, he felt a tearing force come from the edge of the passage, and there was also a magnetic force. His origin soul loosened as if it was going to be sucked out from his body. However, the suction within the passage wasn't strong. If one was outside, the tearing magnetic force would be terrifying. However, just as Wang Lin moved 100 feet, his expression changed and he looked into the distance. A heaven-shaking rumble came from the distance. This roar was extremely shocking, and immediately disrupted the silence outside. Even the expression of the messenger changed. An octagonal compass flew from the distance. This compass was about 1,000 feet wide and gave off glaring light. There was also a large amount of rune marks flashing, making it look even more imposing. The compass got closer and closer. It closed in on the great Emperor planet in an instant. There were 2 people standing on it. The person in front was a long-haired woman. Her hair was like silk and she was very beautiful. Her eyes were like moonlight and charmed all the surrounding cultivators. "Make yours." She stood there like a fairy, her clothes moving gently along with her hair. Beside her stood a middle-aged man. His expression was gloomy and he was like a mountain, with a pressure spreading out from his body. This pressure hit like a storm, causing the expressions of the surrounding cultivators to change, and they retreated. There was blurry smoke surrounding the man. The smoke contained distorted faces that gave off silent roars. There were more than 1,000,000 different faces showing up. Joss flames, third step cultivators. Some people immediately recognized what the smoke was, and their expressions changed greatly. "This little girl is Yun Luo. I came to represent the Sovereign Council to greet the Great Emperor. I was invited by the head of the Fallen Council, and I greet all follow Fallen Land cultivators. Master Simo greets the Great Emperor." The man beside the woman looked at the Great Emperor planet with an indifferent gaze. However, his expression immediately changed and became filled with killing intent. He had spotted Wang Lin inside the passage to the Great Emperor planet. Wang Lin also saw Master Simo. Their gazes were in distant, and they collided like 2 swords that could destroy the world. "Little bastard." Master Simo's voice squeezed through his teeth, and it contained powerful killing intent. Wang Lin's expression was calm as he slowly said, "Loser, you can only rely on words. What kind of third step cultivator are you?" Do you are to fight me?" The thing Master Simo hated the most was his avatar being killed. Now that Wang Lin had brought it up, his killing intent was monstrous. Wang Lin smiled. There was mockery in his eyes as he said, "Do you dare to enter this magnetic fog to destroy your cultivation until you fall down to 5th Heaven's blight and battle me?" After he spoke, the surroundings went into an uproar. Master Simo was startled and was unable to say a word, but his expression was extremely gloomy. He didn't dare. "Fellow cultivator is very sharp. I just don't know what your name is. Could you tell Yun Luo?" The long-haired woman smiled, and her gaze was like moonlight as she looked at Wang Lin. However, to Wang Lin, that smile was extremely pretentious and made him feel disgusted. The position of the Sovereign Council's Grandmaster is in based on cultivation level. It is a title passed down by each generation. You read just a cheeky little girl that is cultivated for less than 1,000 years, and you dare to call me fellow cultivator? No respect for your seniors. Is this how your predecessor taught you? Wang Lin's expression was cold, and his words were even colder. The new chapter is late, but it has over 500 more words than the previous ones. I hope not to be hit. Wishing for the like button for the video. Chapter 1399. Ancient Soul Restriction. The woman was startled for a moment, and a hint of gloominess appeared on her face, but she soon returned to normal. She revealed a gentle smile as she slightly bowed toward Wang Lin and said, "This little girl has learned her lesson. I wonder if Senior can tell me his name." This woman had asked Wang Lin's name twice and had already attracted Wang Lin's attention. Although he didn't know of any spells that used one's name, the Grand Master of the Sovereign Council had extremely strange and unfathomable spells. When he thought of how she could calculate where he was hiding as if she had seen it herself, Wang Lin couldn't help but remember another person he had a profound memory of, the All-Seer. In truth, in all his life as a cultivator, the All-Seer was the one person Wang Lin couldn't see through and did dread the most. Not even Taoist water could create the same sense of dread. At this moment, Wang Lin's expression was calm, but his heart was vigilant. He looked at the woman and slowly said, "Shu Mu." His name was no secret for those that wanted to know. However, Wang Lin vaguely felt that her finding out and him saying it himself were different. The woman's eyes lit up. After saying the name Shu Mu 3 times in her heart, she made an almost indiscernible frown. If this person doesn't personally say his real name, I can use the name puppet spell on him. Wang Lin turned around. He didn't look back at the woman and Master Simo and went deeper into the tunnel. The messenger quickly followed, and the 2 disappeared into the distance. While moving forward, Wang Lin's eyes lit up. What he had done to the River Creek clan and the Soul Snake clan were done to test the Great Emperor. The Great Emperor was too mysterious and had suddenly given Wang Lin many benefits, so it couldn't be helped that he had become cautious. In order to know other party's plot, he must test them. The matter with the Armored Dragon clan was the same, and the matter with the River Creek clan and the Soul Serpent clan was also the same. Only by constantly prodding could Wang Lin find the other party's bottom line. He stripped 2 fallen elders of their titles. He let me pick the Armored Dragon clan as patriarch, and he even let me revoke the rights of 2 clans to participate in the fallen elder selection. All of this is above his bottom line. Perhaps the fallen council means nothing to the Great Emperor. Wang Lin pondered a bit, and his eyes lit up. He suddenly said something to the messenger behind him. The Dark Scorpion Patriarch is not bad. I intend for him to become a fallen elder. The messenger was startled and hesitated for a moment. Wang Lin's gaze swept by the messenger, and his pupils shrank. He vaguely felt like the messenger was using some special method to send a message to someone. After pondering for a bit, the messenger seemed to no longer hesitate and nodded. Since young emperor has personally appointed him, it is naturally not a problem. Wang Lin revealed a smile and continued to walk forward. However, his smile gradually disappeared after he turned around. I was right. The mysterious Great Emperor doesn't care about the Fallen Council at all. Who the hell is he? Wang Lin silently pondered as the 2 of them moved through the passage. Shortly after, they arrived at the Great Emperor planet. Seeing the planet up close, Wang Lin suppressed the shock and carefully looked at it. There was a powerful sense of majesty rotating around the planet. Wang Lin stepped into the planet under the guidance of the messenger. There is no atmosphere. As soon as he entered the planet, he noticed all the strange things about the planet. This was the first time he hadn't encountered an atmosphere when he entered a planet. There were no mountains on the entire Great Emperor planet. It was all plains, and there was a lot of strange vegetation growing. Many of them had leaves so big that several people could lie down on them without feeling crowded. At a glance, these plants were endless and seemed to cover the entire planet. Only in the northwest region did the vegetation lessen, revealing a gray-colored ground. There was also an open area about 500 kilometers wide, and there were countless restrictions placed there. This is staring at the restrictions. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and a thought appeared in his mind. That is the location of the fallen elder selection. When the messenger saw Wang Lin's gaze lock onto the northwest region, he quickly explained. After explaining, the messenger clasped his hands and said, Young master, this subordinate has been instructed to bring you here. I still have to go back to bring in the other cultivators. If young emperor has no other orders, then this subordinate will take his leave. Wang Lin didn't intend to keep this person here. He clasped his hands and said, Many thanks. Wang Lin's personality had always been to treat others how they treated him. Since the messenger had been respectful to him both times they met, he would naturally not make any trouble for the messenger. Young emperor can first get familiar with the Great Emperor planet. When the fallen elder selection starts tomorrow, there will be someone sent to notify young emperor. The messenger bowed before disappearing into the distance. After this person left, it felt as if Wang Lin was the only person left on this large planet. His gaze lingered on the arena to the northwest before he withdrew it and disappeared. When he appeared, he was outside the arena. The 500-kilometer arena was unimaginably large to mortals. It would take a full day to cross it with fast horses. However, for cultivators, this arena was just all right. Outside the restrictions around the arena, Wang Lin raised his right hand pressed down. At this moment, a powerful force gathered from the void and rushed toward Wang Lin's hand. In an instant, a tortoiseshell-like object formed before Wang Lin's right hand. There were endless swirls on the edge of the tortoiseshell that continued to rapidly rotate. Wang Lin's right hand touched the shell and he suddenly felt a powerful force coming from it. His right hand went numb, and he was pushed back 3 steps before he finally stopped. Wang Lin sensed the aura of an ancient soul inside that rebound force. What a powerful restriction. This isn't the annihilation restriction, life and death restriction, or time restriction. It looks like the rumored 4th great restriction that has been lost in time. The ancient soul restriction? Wang Lin's eyes lit up. When the messenger was here, he had already noticed something strange about the restriction, so he had come here to check. Now that he had seen up close, he was surprised. Interesting. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He knew that people would be brought here by the messenger soon, so he didn't have time to waste. He flew up and once he was in the air, thunder flashed in his right eye. His hand formed a seal and the thunder tattoo in his right eye immediately flew out. A giant thunder tattoo formed before Wang Lin. The moment the thunder tattoo appeared, it attracted the endless thunder of the world, and the sky became gray. The entire planet became dim due to the appearance of the thunderclouds. Wang Lin pushed the thunder tattoo and moved like a meteor toward the arena. The thunder tattoo rumbled as it fell with Wang Lin toward the arena. Just as the thunder tattoo closed in on the arena emitted a flash of light. This gray light was like a cloud fog, and it appeared out of thin air. The light quickly condensed to form a tortoise shell. The side of the tortoise shell was several times larger than the one that had formed from Wang Lin's test before. It also contained swirls that were rapidly rotating on its edge. The thunder rumbled, then Wang Lin's eyes lit up and the thunder tattoo closed in. At this moment, the tortoise shell rapidly expanded and covered the whole arena. Wang Lin's pupils shrank and he sucked in a breath of cold air. What tortoise shell? This was obviously a giant tortoise 500 kilometers large. There was a giant head under the shell to the west side of the arena. There were also the 4 feet that belonged to this tortoise, along with the tail on the east side of the arena. In this short period of time, a giant tortoise had appeared. An ancient aura spread out across the planet. The giant tortoise was gray and its eyes were clear. When Wang Lin closed in, it let out a roar. This roar was heaven shaking and twisted the space around it. The sky changed colors and endless sound waves echoed. This scene was extremely shocking. The giant tortoise was roaring at the sky, looking extremely ferocious. Its entire body gave off a gray glow as its 4 feet popped out. The sharp nails on its feet could rip open the sky. Several bumps appeared on its tail and several green spikes poked out. They obviously contained very powerful poison. Then a horn pushed out of its head. An aura of water spread out from the giant tortoise and made Wang Lin have the illusion that he was looking at the ocean. It was as if this place had turned into a vast ocean. Wang Lin waved his hand and the thunder tattoo returned to his right eye. He didn't intend to attack this arena. He had only used the thunder tattoo to force the restriction around the arena to activate completely. Now that he had achieved his purpose, Wang Lin quickly retreated, and his eyes revealed a strange light. It really is the ancient soul restriction. As Wang Lin retreated, the giant tortoise lowered its head and its body slowly dissipated. A moment later, everything returned to normal. Among the 4 great restrictions, the ancient soul restriction was very mysterious and had been lost for many years. However, the remaining clues showed that the ancient soul restriction was related to beasts. It utilized the souls of beasts as the body of the restriction using special methods, and it was extremely powerful. The end of the year is here, brothers. Give a like for Leo. Chapter 1400. Moon concealed at the heart of the lake. While he retreated, Wang Lin's eyes were bright and stared at the giant tortoise that was disappearing. After the tortoise disappeared, joy filled his eyes. I didn't expect the great emperor planet to have the ancient soul restriction. Wang Lin took a deep breath. It took him a long time to suppress the excitement in his heart. He couldn't help but be excited. If he could learn all 4 great restrictions and fuse them, he would have a chance to comprehend the restriction essence. If he succeeded, then Wang Lin wouldn't just have 5 essence, but 6 essences. 6 essences. If this information spread out, it would shock all cultivators. Even third-step cultivators would be terrified. The more one understood about essences, the more they understood what having 6 essences meant. 5 essences was already extremely shocking. However, 1 more would be even more shocking. But similarly, having 6 essences would make completing them much more difficult. Wang Lin's breathing was rough, and he subconsciously licked his lips. I have obtained the annihilation restriction, the life and death restriction, and the time restriction. Although I haven't had too much time to study them, if I can learn the ancient soul restriction, I will have learned all 4 great restrictions at that time. Wang Lin's heart pounded. This chance was too unexpected. It had appeared completely outside of Wang Lin's expectations. His eyes lit up, and after a long time, he suppressed his excitement completely. Who is this great emperor to use the ancient soul restriction on an arena? Wang Lin felt even more dread toward this mysterious great emperor. He let me come here early. Could it be that everything was within his expectations, and he expected me to be attracted by the restriction? Wang Lin silently pondered. And the more he analyzed the current situation, the faster the excitement in his heart dissipated. This great emperor planet is filled with strange things. There is no atmosphere. It's covered in strange vegetation. And it contains the ancient soul restriction. Wang Lin landed on the sparse land without vegetation on the northwest region. The ground was gray, and after landing, Wang Lin grabbed a handful of dirt. After taking a closer look, his expression darkened even more. Just at this moment, rumbles echoed across the sky. It was the messenger bringing more cultivators in. Wang Lin looked up, and with a step, he disappeared. He reappeared on the eastern side of the planet, an area filled with endless vegetation. Wang Lin sat there as he looked at the gray soil in his hand and frowned. This soil looks ordinary, but I feel like something is wrong with it, Wang Lin pondered and closed his eyes. The memory gradually appeared in his mind. It was when he took a half a step into the gate in the heaven-defying bead. He had turned into chaos and then floated in the void before turning into a cultivation planet. Wang Lin had a powerful impression of this memory. It was that experience that allowed him to gain a vague understanding of many things. He clearly remembered that after he turned into a planet, countless years passed and volcanoes erupted on the planet. The materials from the center of the planet escaped through the volcanoes and covered the planet's surface. These things dried out and gradually turned into soil. Some extremely primitive vegetation was born inside his soil. As the vegetation grew and died, vitality began to form in the soil, and it fused with the vitality of the entire planet. When a planet forms in the void, it has no soil. The soil is gradually generated. In other words, the age of the soil on a planet is uneven and should be younger than the planet itself. Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes, revealing a strange light as he stared at the soil. After a long time, he softly said, "Flowing time." The power of time spread out from his body and surrounded the soil in his hand. It seemed to be searching for when the soil was born. However, the soil was born too long ago, and it was impossible for Wang Lin to trace it back that far with his cultivation. However, he was still able to get a general idea. After a very long time, Wang Lin waved his right hand, and the soil scattered. Then he arrived next to some vegetation, and after grabbing a handful, he used flowing time once more. After a moment, Wang Lin let go of the soil in his hand and let it fall. There was enlightenment in his eyes. If this soil was formed by nature, there would be an uneven age. However, the soil here seems to have been born at the same time. There are only two possible explanations. One is that shortly after the planet was born, all the volcanoes on it erupted at the same time. They were all destroyed and formed this soil. However, this is kind of unreasonable. After all, the primal vegetation that give this soil vitality can all grow and die at the same time. If this is true, then there is only one explanation. Everything here is man-made. It was created by someone a long time ago with a powerful spell. Wang Lin took a deep breath. He was also a powerful cultivator now, so he could imagine someone creating a planet. The cultivation level required was unimaginable. While silently pondering, Wang Lin shook his head. He didn't even dare to believe it himself. He didn't know that if others knew of his speculation, it would shock many people. Few cultivators could figure out so many things through clues found from the soil. Even if they had the ability, unless they knew the life cycle of a planet, they wouldn't be able to come to this conclusion. Wang Lin was the first person to figure out the origin of this planet from the soil. If the mysterious great emperor knew of this, he would also be greatly shocked. It was even more shocking than the fact this was a man-made planet. Between cultivators, aside from the difference in cultivation level, there was also the understanding of Tao. Tao, in truth, was the understanding of how the world worked. Someone who understood how the world functioned and possessed a matching cultivation level could achieve unbelievable results. After scattering the soil, Wang Lin pondered for a bit before lying down on a leaf and looking at the gray sky, pondering. He was someone who liked to think. It was because of all this thinking that he was able to survive all the dangers in his life. Although Wang Lin was extremely arrogant to the Sovereign Council's Grandmaster Yun Luo and Master Simo, in truth, he was extremely cautious. Although he didn't know what the Great Emperor's intent was, it didn't prevent him from borrowing the Great Emperor's power for his own use. This method was very practical in this cruel cultivation world. Those that knew how to take advantage of the situation would be able to achieve their goal in the end. Rays of light continued to flash across the sky as more people entered the Great Emperor planet. Wang Lin lied on the leaf, looking at the people passing by, and slowly touched the giant leaf below him. Just at this moment, his expression suddenly changed, and he touched his right hand. When he was touching the leaf with his right hand, he felt a faint trace of origin energy leaving his hand outside of his control and get absorbed by the leaf. However, when he looked closely, he found nothing, as if what he had just felt was an illusion. Wang Lin sat up and his eyes lit up. Although he had found nothing, he had that shocking feeling in his mind. He flew into the air and looked down. The endless vegetation slowly swayed this great emperor planet. Is extremely strange. Wang Lin no longer wanted to set foot on the vegetation. He began to fly around the great emperor planet and carefully observed his surroundings with his divine sense. The sky gradually darkened. The only source of light that remained were the rays of light flashing through the sky. Wang Lin wasn't moving fast, and around dusk, he saw a lake surrounded by endless vegetation, and beside it was an old man in white. The old man was sitting on the side of the lake with a fishing rod in his hand. He was currently fishing. There was also a wine jug beside him. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. This was the first person he had seen aside from the messenger and the people flying across the sky. After pondering a bit, Wang Lin didn't leave, but slowly landed behind the old man. The old man ignored him and continued to look at the lake. Wang Lin sat down on the side and also didn't speak. The surroundings were completely quiet. The only sound was the sound of people breaking the sound barrier in the distance. However, that noise seemed to merge with the silence and didn't feel disruptive. The water was very clear. Although you couldn't see the bottom of the lake at a glance, you could clearly see that there were no fish in it. The young man and the old man sat there with the wine jug between them. Time slowly passed and the sky gradually darkened and the bright moon appeared above. The gentle wind blew by, causing the surrounding vegetation to rustle, but it didn't break the peace here. Gentle ripples set off on the surface of the lake due to the wind. The ripple seemed to pluck the moon from the sky and buried it deep within the lake. Looking at it now, one couldn't tell where the moon was the moon hanging in the sky or buried deep in the lake. The serenity produced by this beautiful scene caused Wang Lin's tired heart to relax for the first time since he had come to the ancient star system. After an unknown amount of time, the old man's hoarse voice slowly echoed, "Do you drink?" The last 2 days of the month are upon us, wishing for the like button for the video. Right now, it's about doubling the likes for the video. Very grateful and will return the favor. Chapter 1401, Fishing Dragon. Wang Lin picked up the wine jug. Without looking, he took a big gulp. When he swallowed the wine, it turned into a spicy feeling that burned from his abdomen to his throat. It was as if he had swallowed a dragon. Drops of sweat appeared on his forehead and immediately turned into white gas. The feeling of burning didn't disappear, but became even stronger and filled his body. Wang Lin felt like his body was burning and the power of fire was going to erupt from his body. The heat cycled through his entire body. It was as if life had been injected into his origin energy. His origin energy seemed to come alive, and a moment later Wang Lin noticed that his origin energy had increased a bit. Just as his origin energy increased a bit, the fire inside his body increased and surged through him. Even his body began to burn. Heat began to come out of his pores. It was an extremely shocking scene. This fire grew stronger and stronger, causing the vermilion birthmark to appear in his left eye. Blue fire erupted from his left eye and fused with the heat inside his body. The cry of a vermilion bird echoed as a blue vermilion bird flew out from his left eye. It coiled around Wang Lin, revealing a comfortable expression. It wasn't until 15 minutes later that the vermilion bird returned to Wang Lin's left eye, and the heat in his body gradually disappeared. Wang Lin took a deep breath and said, "Good wine!" The old man looked at Wang Lin with a kind smile before turning back to face the surface of the lake. Not just anyone would dare to drink this wine. Even third-step cultivators would hesitate. Yet you went and downed a big gulp. "What kind of wine is this?" Wang Lin licked his lips. Just that mouthful had made the fire essence in his body stronger. What made him even more excited was that the wine had allowed his vermilion bird move closer to the next awakening. This isn't tea wine, but blood. The old man's expression was extremely kind and he smiled. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed, and at this moment, a violent ripple echoed from the lake. There was also a muffled roar coming from the bottom of the lake. The clear lake water became cloudy at this moment. Not even divine sense could extend more than half an inch inside. The old man laughed as his right hand held the fishing rod and jerked it backward. The fishing line shined silver under the moonlight and was immediately pulled straight. The roar from the bottom of the lake became even more intense and got closer and closer. Soon, as the fishing rod was being pulled, a head 1,000 feet large was pulled out from the lake. The head looked like a dragon. There was a bump on the head of the dragon. Its color was very dark, a brownish red. This old man wasn't fishing for fishes at all. He was fishing for a dragon. The dragon's head was extremely large, and it opened its mouth with the fishing line in its lip. The body that had extended out from the lake was more than 10,000 feet long. This sudden scene caused Wang Lin's expression to change and shock to appear in his eyes. Before the dragon, Wang Lin was like an ant. The red dragon let out a roar and moved its body as if it were trying to break free from the fishing line. However, the fishing line was made of some unknown material and was extremely tough. No matter how much the dragon struggled, it couldn't break free. The old man smiled as he pulled the fishing rod once more, pulling the dragon out and causing it to roar even more intensely. All of this happened in a flash. It was fast beyond imagination. Just at this moment, the red dragon seemed to notice that it was hopeless to struggle to escape. It suddenly let out a roar and charged at the old man. Before it even got close, a fishy wind blew over. As the dragon closed in, an indescribable aura suddenly erupted from the dragon. It was extremely powerful. Wang Lin's expression turned pale when the pressure hit him, and terror appeared in his eyes. The dragon was like a grinder that could crush all living things. Wang Lin subconsciously retreated a few steps. Third step. He clearly felt that this pressure was no weaker than the feeling Taoist water had brought him back then. A powerful beast comparable to third step cultivators. Wang Lin sucked in a breath of cold air. He couldn't comprehend what was happening. If the old man was just fishing for a dragon, it would have been fine, but he was fishing for a dragon that had the power of a third step cultivator. The old man smiled as he flew into the air with the fishing rod in his right hand, and his left hand waved toward the dragon. Wang Lin immediately saw fire appear in the old man's left hand. This fire seemed illusory, and was more like a fire mist. Then the old man waved his hand. It didn't look like he was using a spell, but there was a thunderous rumble. The dragon let out a miserable cry and its head jerked back as if it had been hit by a powerful force. As it was pushed back, the fire mist spread across the dragon's body. The sound of flesh burning echoed across the world. The screams from the dragon became even more miserable and it was about to go back into the lake. The old man waved the fishing rod in his hand and held the dragon in place. The dragon that was going to withdraw back into the lake let out another miserable scream and was pulled out a few 100 feet more out of the lake. "Damn it, you little fire dragon, how you dare to run from this old man!" The old man roared as he jumped into the air. He landed on the roaring dragon's head, and his hand mercilessly slammed down. The moment the old man raised his left hand, Wang Lin's mind rumbled, and his pupils shrank from shock. He clearly saw something appear behind the old man. At that moment, it was a giant vermilion bird. Its size was far larger than Wang Lin's vermilion bird, and it covered the sky. An ancient aura spread out from the giant vermilion bird, and an ethereal flame covered the entire vermilion bird. Ethereal fire. The moment the vermilion bird appeared, it let out a heaven-shaking cry. This scene shocked Wang Lin. The size of the vermilion bird, the amount of fire and its power were far stronger than that of the old vermilion bird divine emperor. There was no comparison. It was like the difference between a young vermilion bird and its ancestor. The old man's left hand suddenly fell, and the moment it fell, the giant vermilion bird moved, fusing with his left hand. In an instant, the vermilion bird became one with the old man's left hand. From afar, one could no longer see the old man's left hand. They could only see the sharp beak of the vermilion bird. In the blink of an eye, the sharp break pierced through a bump on the dragon's head, and a jet of blood shot out. "What are you startled for? Quickly pick up the jug. Do you think this old body can withstand all this for long?" The old man looked up, and his roar echoed like thunder in Wang Lin's ears. Wang Lin grabbed the wine jug without hesitation and immediately collected the blood inside. However, the jug had a limit and was soon full. Seeing how there was still some dragon blood left, Wang Lin immediately took out a bottle to hold it. However, the moment the bottle touched the blood, it melted. It wasn't able to hold the blood at all. All of this happened in an instant. Seeing how the blood couldn't be collected and was going to fall into the lake, Wang Lin charged forward. He knew it was precious, so he rushed toward the falling blood and inhaled. With this, he inhaled all the dragon blood that was going to fall into the lake into his mouth. This mouthful contained about as much blood as 3 big gulps from before. When the old man saw what Wang Lin had done, he smiled. He jumped off the dragon's head and took back the fishing rod. His right foot stomped down when he jumped off the dragon. The dragon was extremely angry, but it didn't dare to roar. Borrowing the force of the old man's stomp, it quickly drilled into the lake and disappeared without a trace. Good. You indeed someone from my Vermilion Bird clan, and you know that wasting is shameful. The old man smiled and landed beside Wang Lin. After Wang Lin devoured the dragon blood, the fire in his body became monstrous and his face turned red. He had no time to pay attention to the old man. He sat down and cycled his origin energy. The old man stood beside Wang Lin and scanned him. He revealed a satisfactory smile. I thought I'd never be able to see another junior again. This child's Vermilion Bird awakening is only 1 step away from the ethereal fire. This child is not simple. He should be my clan's 6th generation Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor. Not bad, not bad. The more the old man looked, the happier he became. He even crouched down and pinched Wang Lin's cheeks. Then he carefully patted Wang Lin's body. Yes, definitely a member of my Vermilion Bird clan, and not made by our enemy. However, this little fellow's body is actually an ancient god, haha, not bad, not bad. There was excitement in the old man's eyes. The 4th generation Vermilion Bird was too frivolous, and couldn't cultivate my spell. The 6th generation seems pretty cold and should be able to. As the old man patted Wang Lin's body, he was startled. His origin soul's yang has been broken. The old man revealed hatred in his eyes. He stopped patting Wang Lin and sat down. Juniors nowadays, all of them, alas, it's still this old man who has the willpower, and my origin soul's yang is still intact to this day. The end of the month is here. Wishing for the like button for the video. Brothers, do you still have likes for the video? Chapter 1402. Vermilion Bird Ancestor. The old man muttered for a while and looked hatefully at Wang Lin while shaking his head. Since his origin soul's yang is broken, not only can he cultivate this old man's spell, but it would be much more difficult for him to enter the realm of ethereal fire than those that have their yang intact. Unfortunate, unfortunate. The old man sighed as he looked at Wang Lin, who was cultivating. However, as he looked, his eyes suddenly widened and he exclaimed, "Something is wrong, this little fellow's body." This is the old man's eyes widened, and he walked next to Wang Lin. There was a hint of excitement and disbelief in his eyes. He decided to simply press his finger down on Wang Lin's forehead. He didn't hurt Wang Lin at all, but a mysterious force entered Wang Lin's body. When the old man withdrew his right hand, his eyes widened and he stared at Wang Lin's forehead. Just at this moment, an invisible fire flew out from Wang Lin's forehead. The moment the fire appeared, it filled the world, giving off unimaginable heat. At this moment, the invisible fire suddenly shrank until it turned into a weak flame. Although this flame was weak, there was a suffocating aura inside it. This was Wang Lin's fire essence. When the old man saw the fire essence, there was no change in his expression. It was as if he already knew about it. After the fire essence, another light came from Wang Lin's forehead. This light was heaven-shaking and extremely bright. Thunder rumbled as bolts of thunder shot out from Wang Lin's forehead. The moment this thunder appeared, it formed a tattoo, and 9 accompanying thunders rotated around it, giving off a shocking force. The sky changed colors and the clouds scattered. The thunder essence was extremely strong. This was Wang Lin's 2nd essence. What a great guy. Not only does he have the fire essence from his Vermilion Bird awakening a few times, he also has this thunder essence. I had noticed it before, but seeing it now, I can't help but be surprised. This thunder essence is complete too. It is at the point where it can challenge the Void Gate. How did he cultivate it? Could he really have devoured an ancient thunder dragon? The old man sucked in a breath of cold air. However, just at this moment, there was another flash of light from Wang Lin's forehead. The old man's eyes widened, and he revealed a hint of excitement. This is it. This is what I saw before. this little fellow's body. There was another flash, and black and white light shined from Wang Lin's forehead. The world rumbled, and a long, illusory river appeared in the sky. This river was the underworld river formed by Wang Lin's life and death essence. The river swept across the sky and the head and tail connected. It was cloudy inside, and an aura of life and death erupted from it. This was Wang Lin's third essence formed by his life and death domain. The old man revealed an unimaginable excitement, and joy that he hadn't felt for tens of thousands of years appeared on his face. His eyes widened and he smiled. Good, good, good. There really is a third essence. This old man didn't look closely before, so it was unexpected. Before he finished speaking, he was startled for a moment. Another light flashed from Wang Lin's forehead, and an illusory yin and yang symbol flew out. This yin and yang symbol contained karma. When it appeared, it seemed to tear the world apart. The sky and earth seemed to mix, and a karma cycle formed. Fortunately, there were no other cultivators nearby. Otherwise, they would have been entangled inside, and their inner demons would erupt, making it difficult for them to escape. All the karmic cause they had planted would become karmic effect that would destroy themselves. There are more! The old man was completely stunned, and his expression was filled with shock. 4 essences this. How did this child cultivate to have 4 essences? This is too per. The old man's pupils shrank again, and he stopped mid-sentence because there was another flash of light from Wang Lin's forehead. The light this time was extremely bizarre. It looked like it was there, but it wasn't there. It constantly alternated between true and false. Real and fake images began to appear, making it impossible for people to distinguish them at a glance. The old man stared at the 5 different essences floating above Wang Lin. He swallowed hard and didn't know what to say. It wasn't until all 5 essences had disappeared back into Wang Lin's body that he let out a long sigh. No more? That is good, that is good. The old man looked at Wang Lin as if he was looking at a monster. 5 essences, 5 essence, damn it. This little fellow is more of a monster than the 4th generation vermilion bird. How can such a monster appear in this world? Although the old man was saying this, the excitement in his eyes was indescribable. The moonlight was strong, and the gentle wind continued blowing, causing the vegetation to rustle. The night gradually passed, and the sun slowly rose, dispelling the darkness and coldness of the night. After a night of cultivation, the fire essence in Wang Lin's body had become a lot stronger. However, there was still a barrier to the 4th vermilion bird awakening that Wang Lin couldn't break through. The fallen elder selection had already begun at dawn. It wasn't until the sun was high above the sky, almost at noon, that the dragon blood Wang Lin had devoured slowly dissipated. Wang Lin's face returned to normal, and he opened his eyes. Wang Lin let out a mouthful of foul air. This air was black, and when it fell on the ground, it created a cracking sound. It was like the ground was being baked. The moment Wang Lin opened his eyes, he saw Old Man. He pondered for a bit before getting up. He bowed and respectfully said, "Junior Wang Lin greets 4th generation ancestor." The old man looked at Wang Lin with a strange light in his eyes. He let out a dry cough, hid that strange light in his eyes, and smiled. This old man is not the 4th generation vermilion bird. Wang Lin was startled for a moment as he looked at the old man. Then a thought appeared in his mind. Are you the 1st generation vermilion bird? The old man laughed and shook his head. This old man is not the 1st generation vermilion bird, but the 2nd. It has been a long time and things are complicated. The 4th generation vermilion bird is also here. You read the 2nd clan member I've seen after him. Wang Lin silently pondered for a bit and then asked with some hesitation, "Are you the great emperor?" "I am the same as you, a young emperor." The old man smiled. When he saw Wang Lin pondering, he explained, "This old man and the little 4th generation fellow are both young emperors. As for the great emperor, it is a name only outsiders use. To the vermilion bird clan, he only has one name, the 1st generation vermilion bird ancestor. He is also one of the 4 strongest generals under the ancient celestial emperor." Wang Lin's mind trembled and he suddenly looked up. The old man smiled. "As for the details, once you have been through the vermilion bird divine trial, you will know. This trial is something you must do, and for you it might be a great fortune for you to break through to the ethereal fire realm. However, it is extremely hard, so you don't have to feel too much pressure." The old man looked to the northwest. After pondering for a bit, he said with a hint of dissatisfaction, "Why didn't you agree to Master Simo's challenge? The people of my Vermilion Bird clan aren't afraid of battles. After you attempt the trial, let loose and fight him. People who are invited here won't be able to cause any trouble here. The selection of the fallen elders is mere child-s play. The main reason to invite so many third-step cultivators is to let them know that a new young emperor has appeared in the fallen land. You are a member of my Vermilion Bird clan. It doesn't matter if you come from the inner realm or not. If you leave here, I can protect you, but if you are here, I want to see who would dare to hurt you. Remember, my Vermilion Bird clan must be tyrannical and biased. We must be tyrannical so that we can have a foothold in this chaotic old. Only by doing this can you make people dread the thought of moving against you. This is why instead of hiding, show off your might. That Master Simo is your target to show off your might. So what if he is a third-step cultivator? Use him to show your might." The old man's words were extremely tyrannical. Wang Lin pondered for a bit before nodding, and there was a flash of coldness in his eyes. Seeing Wang Lin's expression, the old man was extremely satisfied. He looked at the lake and pondered for a bit. "Drink this dragon blood for the trial. You can cultivate my cultivation method, but since we've met, I should give you something. Let's do this. This old man will pass you a secret spell of the clan." When the old man said the word secret spell, his expression was very strange. "Since you are a member of my clan, there is no problem in telling you. My Vermilion Bird clan never had any so-called secret spells. This secret spells was in fact stolen from the Azure Dragon, White Tiger, and Black Tortoise clans when the old ancestor could still move. After he brought it back, he called it the clan's secret spell. Among the three clans, the Black Tortoise has the greatest strength. I checked your body before and found that you somehow became an ancient god. The power of the ancient gods should make this spell even stronger. This spell isn't a spell, but a method for using force. Observe carefully." After the old man finished speaking, he walked up to the lake. He raised his hand and waved at the lake. His palm caused the water to depress, but just as the depression appeared, the old man's palm smashed down at the surface of the water. The end of the month, wishing for the like button for the video. Don't hold back, it's expiring. Chapter 1403, Stepping into the Proper Tao of Power. There was a thunderous bang and the lake became violent. A layer of water suddenly collapsed and countless drops of water appeared. Then another layer of water suddenly collapsed, and this cycle continued. In an instant, layers of water from the lake dissipated into water vapor and rose into the air. The water level of the lake immediately dropped by 10 feet. This scene was very ordinary, and didn't seem special at all. If it was a spell, even turning the entire lake to gas would be very simple. Forget this old man, even Wang Lin had dozens of methods to deliver a blow that looked much stronger than this. Very ordinary. Isn't it? The old man looked at Wang Lin with a profound smile. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he stared at the surface of the lake and recalled what he had just seen. He began to ponder as he stared at the lake. Seeing Wang Lin like this, the old man became even more happy and didn't disturb Wang Lin. He wanted to see how good Wang Lin's comprehension was, and whether Wang Lin could understand the meaning behind this technique. Back when I learned this from the ancestor, I couldn't learn the meaning behind it by myself. Not even the amazing 4th generation Vermilion Bird Jr. was able to understand the core. He could only grasp the edge. It wasn't until the ancestor explained it that we suddenly realized the true meaning. Let's see how the 6th generation does. However, this child's talent can compare to that of the 4th generation. His current cultivation level should be all from lucky encounters, or perhaps it was due to that disciple the 4th generation Vermilion Bird once talked about. Otherwise, there would be no way for him to reach the terrifying cultivation level of reaching the edge of ethereal fire in just over 2,000 years of cultivation. Even the ancestor couldn't have done this at this age. Just then, the old man suddenly thought about Wang Lin's 5 essences and paused for a moment. Maybe this guy will see through it? The old man was a bit gloomy as he looked at Wang Lin. Wang Lin frowned, and the scene from before kept replaying in his mind. The old man's palm looked very normal and had only shook the lake. The water droplets had flown up and collided with each other countless times before turning into water vapor. However, going by the old man's words, this spell contained a profound truth. While pondering, Wang Lin walked next to the lake and crouched down. He gently pressed his hand against the surface of the lake. He didn't use a spell, he simply touched the water like a mortal. The moment his hand descended toward the surface of the lake, Wang Lin felt a rebound force. This rebound force was extremely weak and almost imperceptible, like this was how it should be. Although the surface of the water was very soft, it could still allow leaves to float. When his palm pressed against it, he would naturally feel a rebound force. This matter would not have caught Wang Lin's attention in the past, and he previously wouldn't have considered why it was like this. However, right now, when this rebound force appeared, Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. Ripples echoed across the lake and more ripples spread out from his palm. The lake was like his heart, and a ripple had been set off in his heart. He was different from other people. Wang Lin was an ancient god. They didn't have many spells, but their bodies were extremely powerful. One punch was enough to annihilate a cultivation planet. This was the core of the ancient god's strength. It was because of this that Wang Lin's grasp of force greatly differed from that of cultivators that relied on spells or treasures. When I was reading books as a child, I heard of dripping water drilling into rock. Water may seem soft, but in truth, water is extremely tough. When it falls on the rock, it has to withstand the rebound force. The countless droplets create a rebound force that eventually allows the water to penetrate the rocks. Forget rocks. If an ancient god took the place of the rock, even they would be penetrated by water droplets after a long time. Enlightenment appeared in Wang Lin's eyes, and he looked at the old man. The old man's expression became serious, also containing a trace of shock. He didn't expect Wang Lin to grasp the edge of this spell by himself. This child's talent can compare to the fourth-generation vermilion bird. The difference is like heaven and earth. This enlightenment is too frightening, and he was able to use his comprehension to make up for his lack of talent to reach the same degree of understanding of this secret spell as the fourth-generation vermilion bird. No wonder he has 5 essences. It seems like it wasn't an accident. The old man took a deep breath and looked at Wang Lin with admiration. He was about to open his mouth to explain the rest. In his view, this was already Wang Lin's limit, and Wang Lin wouldn't be able to look deeper into this matter. However, before he could speak, Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he slowly said, "This is only secondary." The old man was startled. Water contains tenacity and softness, and after forming the lake, it also contains a rebound force. The more power contained in my palm, the more powerful the rebound force. The rebound force that appears the moment I throw the punch is no weaker than the punch itself. As a result, it is as if 2 types of forces suddenly cross and then create a powerful collision. When Senior's palm fell on the water droplets collided countless times, causing part of the lake to disintegrate. That disintegration was a change of state to change the water directly into water vapor. Although it looks simple, it contained a heaven-shaking force, the power to change the state of living things. As Wang Lin spoke, his eyes became brighter and his mind became more clear. Ideas poured into his mind and he replayed what the old man had done tens of thousands of times. This should be it. Senior's palm contained that law. One punch could even cause a cultivation planet to collapse. Although there would still be a rebound force, by the time the rebound force appeared, the cultivation planet would already be destroyed. However, water is different. The toughness of water can't be underestimated. After enough water has gathered, the power it can withstand is shocking. If the same punch landed in the sea, the rebound force would be enough to cause a person to collapse. The old vermilion bird stared at Wang Lin with wide eyes. The fright he had when he saw that Wang Lin had 5 essences reappeared. This comprehension of the heavens is something this old man has never seen before. This comprehension is more powerful than any kind of talent. It wasn't a fluke for this child to obtain essences. The old vermilion bird took a deep breath, and his gaze toward Wang Lin became even stranger. At this moment, he didn't know that once Wang Lin learned the ancient soul restriction, he would have a chance to reach the peak of restrictions and achieve the void realm and obtain the void essence. Of course, this chance was low, but it existed. What Senior is trying to teach Junior is how to use this rebound force. Thus, when I throw a punch, I can borrow the rebound force to kill my enemy, as my power would increase greatly. It can even change the state of objects. Although it's not a spell, this method can be considered a spell. Senior wants Junior to learn this. Wang Lin's eyes were bright, and there was a flash of joy in his eyes. A normal battle between cultivators wouldn't involve punches and kicks. However, Wang Lin was an ancient god, so this was similar to a spell to him. In Wang Lin's ancient god memories, there was no such method of using force. This lesson from the second-generation Vermilion Bird meant a lot to Wang Lin. When he thought of his battle with Tuo Sen, it was clear that Tuo Sen was much stronger. In their battle back then, it was like a child fighting an adult. It wasn't too much to say that he only knew how to use the raw strength of the ancient gods. The old Vermilion Bird swallowed and sighed in his heart. He had lived for a long time, and was an old monster, so it wasn't hard for him to put up an act. He slowly said, "Good, everything you said were simple truths, exactly what I wanted to tell you." Although the old Vermilion Bird had said this, he thought in his heart, "Damn it, I can let this kid see through me. If he finds out that this old man couldn't even comprehend this back then, all my face as an elder will be lost. If I had known this, I would have passed him the White Tiger or Azure Dragon secret spells. Those things are not meant to be cultivated by humans. With this little monster as comprehension, he should go study those things." The old Vermilion Bird quickly let out a dry cough to avoid the topic. His eyes widened and he said, "Good. Now that you've learned the secret spell, follow me to the trial. Once you complete the trial, go use Master Simo to show off your might." After he spoke, he waved his sleeve and they both turned into ethereal fire before flying to the northwest. Wang Lin carefully looked at the ethereal fire and was secretly shocked. "Is this ethereal fire? There is no heat at all, but it gives the illusion that my soul is burning." With the old Vermilion Bird's cultivation level, he immediately brought Wang Lin above the arena in the northwest region. Right now there were 2 cultivators fighting for the position of elder. There were 10,000 cultivators around the arena observing them, and there were several spots where no cultivators dared to approach. One of those locations was where Master Simo and Grandmaster Yunluo were located. Another location, a father and daughter pair covered in blue light. In another place, there was only one person. He wore green and looked like a young man. He laid lazily on a cloud, looking at the 2 people fighting below. He yawned as he took out a peach and took a bite. There was a giant lizard coiled up in the last location. The beast was black and looked ferocious as it floated in the air. On its back sat an old man wearing animal skins. This old man's face was filled with holes and bumps, and there were fist-sized earrings on each of his ears. His lips had 4 red needles pierced through them, as if sealing his mouth. Just at this moment, the expressions of these people changed, and they all looked up. A grand chapter. Not caring to read 4,500 words, can bear to split it into 2 chapters. As the donkey dies a martyr, tears flow, wishing for the like button for the video. Chapter 1404, The Biased Old Vermilion Bird. A few old fellows came. Just as everyone looked up, the old Vermilion Bird's voice echoed across the sky in a taunting manner. As he descended, the ethereal fire around him scattered and dissipated without a trace. This revealed Wang Lin's figure behind the old Vermilion Bird. Just as Wang Lin appeared, a few gazes fell on him. The first gaze was from Master Simo. His gaze was cold and filled with killing intent. The second gaze was gentle. It contained a hint of confusion and reminiscence. It came from the daughter covered in blue light. The third gaze came from the handsome young man eating the peach. His eyes shined, and he revealed a smile that wasn't a smile. Wang Lin's expression remained calm as his gaze swept past the father and daughter covered in blue light. There was a hint of complication in his eyes, but that soon dissipated. Wang Lin clasped his hands and respectfully said, "Junior greet Senior Tao Master Blue Dream." Tao Master Blue Dream smiled as he nodded and said, "I really did underestimate you before." The old Vermilion Bird was shocked by the fact that Wang Lin knew Tao Master Blue Dream. Then his gaze swept by Li Qianmei, and he smiled mischievously before ignoring this matter. Then his gaze locked onto Master Simo. "Little kid, what are you looking at? Are you dissatisfied with this old man? Do you want to challenge this old man? Come and fight, this old man will play with you." The old Vermilion Bird didn't have the grace of a senior as he stared at Master Simo and made a taunting gesture with his index finger. Master Simo's expression changed. He knew that the old man was the first young emperor of the fallen land. This was someone just below the great emperor, and he was very famous. The Sovereign Council was still doing research on this person, and this old fellow was not easy to deal with. The killing intent in Master Simo's eyes had disappeared. He clasped his hands and softly said, Senior S cultivation is heaven-piercing. Junior is no match.
He dared to fight this old man, but you want to provoke my junior.
You deserve a beating. No matter how the old vermilion bird looked at Master Simo, he found him to be an eyesore. He let out a cold snort and waved his right hand. No spell seemed to appear with that wave, but Grandmaster Yun Luo's expression changed greatly and she retreated without hesitation. Master Simo's pupils also shrank, and he let out a roar as he began to form hand seal. However, before he could complete it, a thunderous rumble echoed. Master Simo quickly retreated from this rumble. His hand was trembling and his face was pale. An ethereal fire was burning inside him, and it flashed 3 times. Every time it flashed, the burning power inside his body increased. After 3 flashes, Master Simo's body trembled violently, and he coughed out blood. His eyes were filled with terror. Senior is bullying a junior before everyone here. What is the meaning of this? Anger appeared on Master Simo's face, but the anger seemed to feed the ethereal fire around him, causing it to become even more powerful. Master Simo coughed out blood once more. At this moment, Grandmaster Yun Luo stepped up and pressed her hand against his back. She used some secret spell to make Master Simo's face look slightly better, but he was still deathly pale. The strong bullying the weak. Damn, you actually know what that means? After using your 3rd step cultivation to force a fight with my junior, you dare to say I am bullying the weak? So what if I am bullying the weak? The old vermilion bird had cultivated for many years, and although he looked kind to Wang Lin, in truth, when he became famous, he had an explosive temper. After hearing Master Simo's words, his eyes widened and he took a step forward. He was too fast. It was impossible for the eye or divine sense to keep up. He arrived before Master Simo and directly sent out a slap. With one slap, Master Simo let out a muffled groan and was pushed back several dozen feet. His face swelled up and became purplish black. Grandmaster Yun Luo's face turned pale as she retreated and said, Senior, stop. The Sovereign Council. Before Grandmaster Yun Luo could finish speaking, the old vermilion bird looked at her viciously. Little girl, shut up. If you don't stop, I'll slap you too. This old man is going to bully the weak today. This made Grandmaster Yun Luo bite her lower lip and stop talking. Master Simo had just stopped his body, and his vision had become blurry. Who are you to dare to call my junior a little bastard? You a bastard, your entire family are bastards. As the old vermilion bird spoke, he closed in once more and sent out a slap with his left hand. Master Simo let out a muffled groan and coughed out blood. He was pushed back and anger filled his body. However, this anger increased the strength of the fire in his body. He let out a miserable scream and suppressed his anger. If my junior is a bastard, doesn't that make me a bastard as well? Damn it, you dare to scold this old man? The old man stared at Master Simo and gave chase. Junior didn't Master Simo's mind trembled and he was about to explain himself, but his words were obviously not as fast as the old vermilion bird. The old vermilion bird suddenly got close and sent out a slap with his right hand. Master Simo's already purplish-black face swelled even more and he coughed out blood along with a few teeth. His body was thrown far away. Oomph, you dare to scold this old man? There was a hint of killing intent in the old vermilion bird's eyes. If it wasn't for the fact that he wanted Wang Lin to use Master Simo to show off, he wouldn't have just used 3 slaps. He would be instantly taken his life. The old vermilion bird dared to fish for a dragon and had a terrifying cultivation level. Although Master Simo was a 3rd step cultivator, he had just entered the 3rd step. If it was someone other than the old vermilion bird, they would show some hesitation. After all, the Sovereign Council stood behind Master Simo. However, the old vermilion bird didn't consider any of this at all. He only had one thought: no one could provoke the vermilion bird clan. Even if they had a higher cultivation level than him, he wouldn't care. The 1st generation ancestor would deal with it. The vermilion bird clan's bias was passed down from generation to generation. Wang Lin revealed a smile as he watched this. He found the shadow of Xianxia and the 5th generation vermilion bird divine emperor on the old vermilion bird. Wang Lin's personality was sometimes very simple. Those who were good to him would be paid back several fold. Like Zituna, Xianxia, the old vermilion bird divine emperor, Dungtian the cultivators fighting for the fallen elder position, all stopped and retreated. The 10,000 fallen land cultivators were all extremely respectful. And the 10 messengers also looked up at the sky respectfully. As for the rest of the people in the sky, they didn't say anything. After slapping Master Simo a few times, the old vermilion bird withdrew his gaze and returned to Wang Lin's side. He completely ignored Master Simo, who was in a sorry state, and the gloomy Grandmaster Yun Luo. This old man is very happy that everyone could come here. Although there are still a few old fellows who are not here, it is fine. Since everyone is present, I want you all to witness the trial of my fallen land as third young emperor. If he succeeds in the trial, he will become a true young emperor. Making him your enemy is the same as making this old man your enemy, making the fallen land your enemy. The old vermilion bird clasped his hands at everyone. He pulled Wang Lin and pointed at the handsome young man. Little fellow, you know Tao Master Blue Dream, so I want to introduce you. You see that young man eating the peach? Don't think he is young, he is actually an old monster. You might have heard of him before. He is one of the 5 masters, Tao Master Miao Yin. Wang Lin's expression remained calm, but his mind raced. He had heard of Tao Master Miao Yin before. He looked at the young man but found no trace of cultivation, and Wang Lin clasped his hands as a greeting. The handsome young man laughed and nodded at Wang Lin. There is also this old fellow with the needle in his mouth. He is also someone you should know. Although he is not one of the 5 masters, his cultivation is not a bit weak. He is the self-proclaimed esteemed Tai Huang. His poison cultivation made him famous. The old vermilion bird pointed at the skinny elder sitting on the lizard. The old man's eyes lit up and he let out a cold snort. His lips didn't move, but a voice came from his body. Old bird, this old man didn't come to witness anything. I am here to fight you. However, this junior of yours is not bad, so I'll gift you this for protection. The old man raised his right hand and flicked. A piece of his fingernail from his index finger broke off and flew toward Wang Lin. There was a flash of light and the piece of fingernail floated before Wang Lin. The old vermilion bird's eyes widened after hearing the words old bird, but when he saw the nail, he laughed. You little poison bug, you're pretty generous. Take it. That thing contains that little poison bug's poison. It is a powerful weapon to use against your enemies. As the old vermilion bird spoke, he raised right hand and waved down at the arena. He shouted, the fallen elder selection will be pushed back, and the young emperor trial will begin. His voice rumbled like thunder and echoed across the arena. The roar of a dragon tortoise echoed, and the giant tortoise shell that surrounded the arena appeared. The giant tortoise was extremely large and extremely ferocious. It was an unforgettable scene. A powerful force spread out, and the surrounding 10,000 cultivators revealed extreme reverence as they avoided the shockwave. The giant tortoise let out a roar. After it appeared, it looked up at the old vermilion bird. Big brothers and little sisters, do you still have likes for the video? Wishing for the like button for the video to help. Chapter 140, Sea of Devils. Wang Lin's expression became unsettled as the country's ceiling array being broken was very bad news for him. Once those fire beasts get out, their first target will be him. The thought of the fire beast chasing him made Wang Lin's scalp go numb. He immediately made up his mind. He had to get the map no matter what, and it didn't seem like he could wait until the end of the month for the distant heaven pill. Thinking of this, Wang Lin's brow furrowed. The last piece of the map was in Feng Luan's hands, and he didn't have enough time kill the required cultivators. After pondering a bit, Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he made a decision. He immediately found Lin Tao and Yang Zhong with his divine sense, and then quietly moved away before flying toward Yang Zhong. Yang Zhong was one of the disciples responsible for patrolling the area. He didn't dare to relax at all as he vigilantly kept watch, but his eyes couldn't help but move toward the top of the mountain. When that broken nascent soul flew past him, he had a feeling that something big was about to happen. Yang Zhong let out a sigh as he suppressed the heavy feeling in his heart. Just as he was about to go patrol the northwest area, he suddenly felt something, so he flew into the dense forest in the north. After he entered the dense forest, he looked around and respectfully said, Yang Zhong greets master. Wang Lin came out of a tree. He examined Yang Zhong before asking, where is Zhong Zihong? Yang Zhong was suspicious, but he didn't dare say anything. He pondered for a bit before replying, if I remember correctly, Junior Sister Zhong should be in the 3rd Squad of the 4th Army, but I don't know the exact details. Wang Lin looked at Yang Zhong and said, I've already returned Zhong Zihong's soul essence blood. Yang Xiong's body shook and his breathing became rough, but he quickly calmed himself down. He raised his head and looked at Wang Lin. His mouth opened as if he wanted to say something. Wang Lin's expression was calm as he said, if you can make Zhong Zihong come here, then I'll return your soul essence blood to you. Yang Xiong's eyes became bloodshot and his breathing became rough again. After a long time, he whispered, is what Master is saying true? Wang Lin frowned, but still nodded. Without a word, Yang Xiong took out a piece of jade and placed it on his forehead. Wang Lin only saw the jade gleam a few times before being thrown. Yang Xiong then disappeared into the distance. After 1 hour, the sound of flying swords came from the distance, and a very beautiful woman with red lips, white skin, and a curvy figure arrived. This person was Zhong Zihong. She put away her flying sword, and just as she was about to speak, she saw Wang Lin beside Yang Xiong, making her face immediately go pale. Wang Lin waved his hand, and Yang Xiong's soul essence blood flew toward Yang Xiong. He felt very shameful as he caught it and left without daring to look at Zhong Zihong. Zhong Zihong's face was pale and she bit her red lip. After a long time she talked with a chill on her back. Ancestor Feng Luan is my mother. When she saw me she immediately noticed that something was off, so... Wang Lin shook his head. He sighed and said, this matter is over, so there's no need to mention it again. Zhong Zihong, I would like you to help me with something. Zhong Zihong was startled and asked, is it the map? Wang Lin nodded and said, my home is very far away. It would be impossible to find it without a map. Zhong Zihong looked at Wang Lin with a very complex gaze and said, help me kill 2 people. Wang Lin raised his brow. What cultivation level? Zhong Zihong's eyes became cold as she answered, one is at the mid-stage of foundation establishment, and the other is at the peak of late-stage foundation establishment. Okay. Wang Lin didn't hesitate to agree. You should know the 2 of them. One of them is Ma Liang's precious junior apprentice sister, Shu Si. The other is Zhou, who is always fooling around with her. You don't have to kill them now, you can kill them when you leave. As for the map, I'll bring it to you within 1 hour. After Zhong Zihong finished speaking, she looked at Wang Lin meaningfully before leaving on her flying sword. Ma Liang, this is the last time I am helping you. Zhong Zihong revealed a melancholy look as she slowly flew away. Wang Lin meaningfully looked at Zhong Zihong's back before spreading out his divine sense to find Shu Si. He left a sliver of his G realm on her before, so it was very easy to find her. After finding Shu Si's location, Wang Lin took a step forward and went underground. Half an hour later, Wang Lin resurfaced. He sat down cross-legged, waiting for Zhong Zihong's return. There was a strange look on his face as when he found Shu Si and Zhou. The 2 of them were in a remote area of the mountain. They were having fun with their 2 white bodies colliding and creating popping sounds. Wang Lin took one look and placed a sliver of divine sense that would activate in half a month on Zhou before quietly leaving. After waiting in the dense forest for a while, the person that came wasn't Zhong Zihong, but a female QI condensation disciple. She threw a piece of jade into the forest and ran away without even looking back. Wang Lin's right hand moved, and the jade quickly flew into it. He checked the jade with his divine sense before putting it away. Then he took a deep breath, entered the ground, and quickly left. After the 3 pieces of the map were fused, Wang Lin could tell that Hofen belonged to the Zhou continent. A place called the Sea of Devils was between here and the continent Zhao was on. If he wanted to return to Zhao, he would have to cross this Sea of Devils, which was rumored to be filled with demonic cultivators. The map contained only some details of the Sea of Devils. It only said that it was a very dangerous place, and that even nascent soul cultivators didn't dare to casually enter. And the map even pointed out that the Sea of Devils wasn't a real sea anymore. Back in ancient times, the sea was evaporated by a very powerful cultivator to kill his enemy. Since then, the entire Sea of Devils was filled with fog, so it's more accurate to say that it's a fog sea. The creatures living in the Sea of Devils have adapted to survive in this fog too. At the same time, because of the special fog of the Sea of Devils, the fog becomes seawater for 1 month out of the year. Due to the harsh landscape, resources are very lacking, there are very few spirit veins, and killing people is very common. All of this caused the Sea of Devils to become a gathering point for demonic cultivators. Even criminals from high-ranking cultivation countries being hunted by their countries escaped to the Sea of Devils. The name Sea of Devils comes from this. As for its real name, no one even remembers it. The Sea of Devils is a very messy and chaotic place. Very few non-demonic cultivators are willing to enter that place. Wang Lin digested the information in the jade as he was using the earth escape technique. He suddenly stopped when his divine sense spread out from the ground and saw 2 flying swords flying across the sky. The one in front was a girl whose face was very flustered and pale. Her body seemed like it was ready to fall over. This girl was as beautiful, graceful, and elegant as a fairy. She was Li Muwan from the Lu He sect, who he met once. The person chasing her was a young man with slicked hair. Not only was the young man not in a rush, as he casually chased her, but he also loudly teased, "Little darling, I have killed everyone else in your 13-man squad. Where can you possibly run to?" Li Muwan remained silent as she bit her lower lip and flew forward. The young man waved his hand. Li Muwan let out a scream as a large piece of the clothes on her back was torn off, revealing her white and tender skin. The young man let out a laugh as he sniffed the ripped piece of cloth. His eyes lit up. Wang Lin only looked for a bit before withdrawing his gaze. That young man's cultivation level was very high, at the mid-stage of core formation. He doesn't want any trouble as his goal is to leave before the fire beasts arrive. He only met Li Muwan once, so there was no real reason to risk his life to save her. But just at this moment, the young man's eyes lit up and he threw a black light toward where Wang Lin was hiding. "There is a junior who knows the earth escape technique hiding here. Since we met, you might as well stay." Wang Lin let out a sigh and jumped out the moment the black light hit the ground. Li Muwan noticed a change, so she turned around. She revealed a joyous expression and shouted, "It's you! Senior apprentice brother, please save me." With that, her flying sword turned and arrived next to Wang Lin in an instant. The young man let out a laugh. He waved his hand, making 8 flying swords appear. They all shot toward Wang Lin and Li Muwan. The flying swords closed in, but most of them were targeting Wang Lin. Only one sword was targeting Li Muwan, and it wasn't trying to kill her. Clearly, the young man wanted to keep her alive. Wang Lin secretly let out a sigh as he grabbed Li Muwan's arm and dangerously dodged the flying swords. He pulled her underground and activated the earth escape technique to run away. The earth escape technique was really a technique of the ancient cultivation world, even if this was just an inferior branch of it. Even when Wang Lin was carrying another person, his speed barely dropped. The youth controlled the flying swords to attack the ground. He showed a mocking smile as the shock waves transferred underground, but as Wang Lin's speed became faster and faster, the youth's expression became more serious and he focused on chasing. Although he was a core formation cultivator, he wasn't specialized in speed. If Wang Lin was using a normal flying sword of a foundation establishment cultivator, it would be nothing, but against the specialized earth escape technique, his weakness was exposed. The more he chased, the bigger the gap between him and Wang Lin became. Wang Lin's face was gloomy as he looked back at Li Muwan with a merciless expression. Li Muwan's heart began to pound. She knew that she had dragged him down with her. She bit her lower lip and quickly said, "That person is the Xuan Wu's double cultivation sect's elder. He somehow knew that I had a distant heaven pill. That's why he disregarded his status and came after me." Without waiting for her to finish speaking, Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he asked, "You have a distant heaven pill?" Wang Lin's gaze caused Li Muwan to become very frightened. She was a very clever person, or else she wouldn't have risked saying the 3 words distant heaven pill to get him to save her. After all, they were both from Ho Fen, so falling in his hands would be better than falling in the hands of that core formation cultivator. Thinking about this, she immediately said, "I don't have a finished distance heaven pill, only a semi-complete product." Her eyes began to turn red as she saw Wang Lin's unkind gaze and quickly explained, "None of the Lu He sect's distance heaven pills are complete. They are all in a semi-complete state. However, it would only take half an hour of refining to make it a complete product. This is because once the distance heaven pill is complete, there is no way to store it. It must be consumed within 1 year, otherwise its effectiveness will drastically decrease." Wang Lin's mind quickly turned. He originally planned on going around Ho Fen to get into the Sea of Devils, but now he grabbed Li Muan's soft little hand and charged toward Ho Fen's border. Wang Lin had two options right now. One was to return to the Ho Fen Union. There were many powerful cultivators there, and the moment they arrive, they would be safe. However, that core formation young man might not even let them get that far. If Li Muan changes her mind once they get to safety, then it would be very hard for him to get the distance heaven pill. The second option was to go to the border of Ho Fen. Considering how long it had been since the country's sealing barrier broke, the fire beasts should be on their way. Wang Lin didn't hesitate to choose the second option. The young man kept chasing. Seeing his prey getting farther and farther away, he let out an angry grunt and took out a crystal leaf from his bag of holding. The young man looked at the leaf for a bit before throwing it out. The leaf immediately grew longer and wider until it was 10 feet long. The young man jumped on the leaf. Then his hand formed a seal and he shouted, "Quick!" The moment he said that word, the leaf flew forward at an incredible speed. It was so fast that it left an afterimage that took a while to dissipate. The distance between the two parties began to lessen, and Li Muan's face became even more pale. She didn't dare to think of what would happen if the young man caught up. She was angry that Wang Lin didn't go toward the Ho Fen Union, but she only dared to kept it inside as she didn't want to show her face in fear of Wang Lin leaving her behind. Wang Lin's expression remained calm as he carefully calculated the time. It had been about 3 hours since the news of the country's sealing array breaking arrived. Adding the time it took for the nascent soul to use all its power to teleport here, and the time after the fire beasts broke the array, the fire beasts must have arrived at the border of Xuanwu by now. As he was calculating, he detected a red cloud rolling in from the distance with his divine sense. When the young man saw the red cloud, he immediately stopped and gave up the chase. With his position, he knew the reason Ho Fen was invading Xuanwu. The reason was that the fire beasts were forming that red cloud. The herd of fire beasts was very fast, and Wang Lin's earth escape technique was also very fast, so when they passed each other, a huge gap was created. Li Muan's heart pounded rapidly as she watched the red cloud. She finally calmed down a bit when she noticed that they moving farther away from it. However, she suddenly realized something and shouted quickly, "Stop! We need to go back and report it. Aren't the fire beasts supposed to be sealed by the country's sealing array?" Wang Lin looked at her coldly and said, "They already know. There is no need for you to worry." Just then, a powerful divine sense spread out and suddenly locked onto Wang Lin's body. Wang Lin realized that something was wrong, so he took out a bottle of spiritual liquid and drank it all. He throttled the earth escape technique to 120% of its normal speed and quickly escaped with Li Muan. The fire beasts that had already flown far away suddenly stopped. They all let out roars, then turned around and started chasing after Wang Lin. However, the distance between them was very large, and Wang Lin's reaction was very quick. Instead of slowing down, he sped up. So even though the fire beasts were chasing, they could only follow far behind and were unable to catch up anytime soon. Li Muan was horrified as she noticed the change, but then she suddenly had a very strange thought. It felt as if the fire beasts weren't out to destroy Ho Fen but were after this cold youth. The real 5 elemental escape technique is a legendary technique. Not only does it require a large amount of spiritual energy, it also has strict requirements for one's talent. However, what Wang Lin learned was only a branch variant called the Earth Escape Technique. Aside from the large spiritual energy consumption, the amount of talent required isn't very high. He could even fine-tune the technique after many uses. Although he hadn't known the technique for long, he had used it a lot since learning it, so now he could use it with ease. As for the spiritual energy consumption, well, to be honest, the last thing Wang Lin was afraid of was the consumption of spiritual energy. Wang Lin continued to use the Earth Escape technique for 3 days straight as he brought Li Muan across Ho Fen. The fire beasts chasing him had gotten closer, and their roars could now be heard. At the border of Ho Fen, Wang Lin came out of the ground. He looked at the Sea of Devils, then he turned to Li Muan, who had a pale and weary face, and asked, "Are you confident you can finish refining the pill before the fire beasts catch up?" At this point, Li Muan feared Wang Lin from the bottom of her heart. She was now sure that the fire beast's target was the person before her. Why would those fire beasts ignore the Ho Fen Union and all turn to chase him otherwise? Also, looking at the fire beasts, it was as if they all had some deep hatred for this person. Most importantly, Li Muan knew a bit about the Earth escape technique. Unless one reaches the core formation stage, it is impossible for a cultivator to use for it 3 days straight. She became very curious about the liquid Wang Lin always drank whenever he ran low on spiritual energy. Now that she heard Wang Lin's words, her face became even more pale. With how smart Li Muan was, how could she not realize the hidden meaning in that question? If she could do it, then he might give her a way out, like luring the fire beasts away or something. But if she couldn't, she believed that this cold youth would take away her half-completed distant heaven-s pill and leave her behind. Thinking about it, Li Muan's body began to tremble. She had seen a lot of cultivators being torn apart by the fire beasts, so she was terrified right now. Wang Lin's brow furrowed. Time was of the essence right now, yet this girl was in a daze. How could he possibly know what was going through her head right now? Li Muan's guess was a bit off, however. Even if she couldn't finish it now, Wang Lin would have taken the semi-complete product, but he still would have given her a life-saving treasure. Adding on the fact that the fire beasts were after him, she would have had a high chance of survival. Li Muan's heart trembled when she saw Wang Lin frown. She bit her lower lip and said, with a trembling voice, Senior apprentice brother, time is too short for me to produce a complete product, but I can refine pills. I know how to refine almost every pill from the Lu He sect, and I have memorized many ancient recipes. As long as I have the materials, I can refine them. Wang Lin was startled and looked at Li Muan a few times. Then he saw the red light coming in from the distance and grabbed Li Muan. He then charged toward the Sea of Devils. Li Muan didn't know that her words had really tempted Wang Lin. In his eyes, Li Muan was a walking pill furnace. If he used her properly, his cultivation level would be able to increase greatly. Wang Lin obtained this idea from Sun Yukai's life journal. The Sea of Devils was very large, and it was basically a big hole. It wouldn't be wrong to call the Sea of Devils a giant basin, only this basin had many mountain ranges within it. There weren't any trees, but there were many strange plants. If one were to check their ancestry, they would find that these plants would trace all the way back to ancient sea plant life. The season Wang Lin entered the Sea of Devils was when the fog was the thickest. Shortly after, the fog will turn into water, and then 1 month later, all of the water will become fog again. Li Muan was dragged into the thick fog by Wang Lin. Her charming body trembled as she bit her lower lip and whispered, Senior apprentice brother, this is the Sea of Devils? Wang Lin coldly replied, I know. Li Muan secretly let out a sigh and no longer said a word. The moment they entered the Sea of Devils, slivers of yin energy entered their bodies. This caused Wang Lin to become alert. He didn't expect to find yin spiritual energy here. This made him very happy. Compared to Hofen, the Sea of Devils was like a piece of ice, creating a vast contrast with Hofen. This was the first time Li Muan had come to the Sea of Devils. Various stories she had heard about the Sea of Devils entered her mind, causing her face to become ever paler than it was before. Wang Lin stopped in the middle of the fog. The fog in this spot wasn't too thick, so the border of Hofen was visible. He saw the red cloud closing in from the distance, but once the fire beasts arrived at the border, none of them crossed it. They could only roar at Wang Lin. Gradually, more and more fire beasts gathered, but not one fire beast entered the Sea of Devils. It was as if there was a giant crevice in the way and they didn't want to cross it. After a long time, one fire beast finally charged out, but the moment it touched the fog, it let out a miserable scream. Its body quickly shrank, and its skin went from white to red to gray. This scene looked exactly like throwing a hot coal into ice water. After seeing this, Wang Lin's heart calmed down a bit. According to his plan, even if the fire beasts charged in, the beasts and cultivators from here would stop them. And the Sea of Devils was the size of several thousand Haofens. Although the map did not show it, it clearly pointed out the difference in size. With how large the Sea of Devils was, if Wang Lin were to hide here, it would be hard for the fire beast to find him. Wang Lin's body moved and he grabbed Li Muan, the portable pill furnace, and quickly flew away. His G-realm divine sense spread out. He kept a watchful eye on the surroundings. He had to make a cave and reach the core formation stage as soon as possible. Only after reaching the core formation stage and becoming the #1 cultivator below the nascent soul stage would he have any confidence in surviving in the Sea of Devils. Just in time to keep the manuscript, tonight's update might not be timely. If there's no second watch tonight, Leo will supplement tomorrow. However, Leo will try his best to finish today. You are listening to a completely free audiobook on the Leo Audio YouTube channel. If you enjoy the story, please like the video to motivate the channel. Support Leo with a cup of coffee through the description link or on the screen. If you want to hear any other stories, just comment and let Leo know. Thank you very much for watching the video. Chapter 1405, Dreamlike Life. Start the blue incense. The old vermilion bird waved his hand. The childishness from before disappeared, and he became serious. At this moment, a powerful might came from his body, along with a tyrannical feeling. It was as if whatever he said was law. As the rumble echoed, 3 giant incense sticks thousands of feet thick and tens of thousands of feet tall appeared on the back of the tortoise. These 3 incense sticks were dark blue and pierced into the sky. The giant tortoise seemed to have turned into an altar. The 3 incense sticks on its back were a shocking sight. The trial of my fallen land's young emperor is extremely simple. You must enter the 3 fantasy worlds of human, earth, and heaven and light up all 3 incense sticks. This trial has 2 key points. The first is that lighting the incense sticks is difficult. Second, once an incense stick is lit, although it is tens of thousands of feet tall, it burns very fast. You must use all your effort to slow down the burning so your soul can leave and return to your body. The old vermilion bird's expression was very serious as he looked at Wang Lin. Every trial has danger. My fallen land's young emperor's trial is also the same. If you can ignite it, there is no consequence, but if you ignite it and you can get out, your soul will burn to death with it. With this old man here, you really die, but you will disappoint this old man. Since ancient times, only 2 people have succeeded. This old man was the first, and before you, there was another. That person is extremely gifted. He took 5 breaths for the first incense, 9 breaths for the second incense, and 14 breaths for the third. Even this old man is inferior to him. Do you dare to try? Answer me. The old man's eyes glowed like a torch as he looked at Wang Lin. Wang Lin remained calm and slowly said, "Why would I not dare?" "Good. I expect you to surprise me a 3rd time." The old vermilion bird laughed and waved his right hand. A gust of wind wrapped around Wang Lin, and he moved like a bolt of thunder toward the first incense stick. Master Simo's eyes contained a well-hidden vicious gaze. His face was still purple, and it wouldn't heal in a short period of time with a spell. After all, the old vermilion bird had done this on purpose to humiliate him. Right now, Master Simo didn't dare to be as arrogant as before, but his killing intent toward Wang Lin had become even stronger. Master Simo let out a cold snort. The Sovereign Council has studied the fallen land's trial deeply. This little bastard can succeed with his cultivation level. Grandmaster Yun Luo beside him also had a gloomy expression. Her hand in her right sleeve casually formed a few seals as if she was trying to divinate some things. But her gaze swept toward Dao Master Miao Yin. As for Dao Master Miao Yin, he lied down on the cloud with his eyes squinted, revealing a strange light. This little fellow must be the Wang Lin that Taoist Water had sent information about the Lord of the Sealed Realm. Is not dead that Taoist Water wouldn't dare to lie. But I should be careful about this. I said last time because the Sovereign gave me great benefits. But now if they want me to act, it will depend on whether the Sovereign Council is willing to give the appropriate reward. Tao Master Blue Dream calmly looked at Wang Lin and sighed in his heart. In such short period of time, this child has managed to destroy the Scatter Thunder clan and also formed a deep relationship with the Fallen Land. I've really underestimated him as one of the 5 masters. I have a responsibility to guard the ancient star system. But the matter between him and you, Dao Master Blue Dream, looked at his daughter with a complicated gaze. I can ignore the Sovereign Council, and even if the Sovereign comes out of closed-door cultivation, I can refuse. But what if Meng comes? What should I do thinking about his wife? Dao Master Blue Dream felt a sting in his heart. He could never forget that year when his wife seemed to have died and became a stranger. The old man wearing the beast skin closed his eyes and simply ignored it all. It was as if nothing in the world mattered aside from battling the old vermilion bird. The giant lizard below him snorted 2 streams of hot air and closed its cold eyes. As the 10,000 cultivators around the giant tortoise all watched Wang Lin close in on the first incense stick, various thoughts appeared in their minds. Ying! This person is really lucky to have caught the eye of the first young emperor. However, this trial is extremely difficult. I am certain he won't succeed, The fallen land's first elder didn't even dare to try to obtain the title of young emperor, even though he is at the fifth heaven's blight. Although this person has obtained the favor of the great emperor and the first young emperor, there is no way he can succeed. Wang Lin arrived next to the first incense stick under the gazes of the 10,000 cultivators around the arena and landed on the tortoiseshell. Compared to the incense stick, Wang Lin's figure was truly insignificant. This giant incense stick was like a mountain. It released a faint fragrance, and when one smelled it, it would awaken their spirit. Wang Lin took a deep breath and placed his right hand on the giant incense stick. The moment he touched the incense stick, he closed his eyes and his body became motionless. His soul entered the incense stick the first trial, the human phantom world. The sound of water was rushing across his ears. There were bustling sounds coming from the distance that became more and more clear until they suppressed the sound of water in Wang Lin's ears. The sky was blue, beautiful like a painting, with white clouds embellished on it. However, it looked a bit fake. Wang Lin was standing on a bridge with a river flowing below him. There were several boats floating down the river. On both sides of the bridge were noisy streets with many pedestrians, but it was impossible to see their faces. Wang Lin withdrew his gaze from the sky. He felt like he had entered a dream world. Everything was fake without any sense of it being real. Even this bridge was blurry in his eyes, as if it could disappear at any moment. It was as if everything in this world aside from himself was not real. This was a mortal city. This city wasn't too big, but there were a lot of people living here. There were many stalls and shops along the street, and the sound of people shouting was constant. However, all of this was a blur and seemed separated from him. Is this the first trial? Wang Lin pondered, and then turned around to walk off the bridge when he suddenly looked at the river. There was a big boat slowly floating down the river, and there was a young man holding a cup of wine on it. There were a few female singers dancing on the deck and a few servants standing behind him. Among the laughter came these soft yet arrogant words. The world is an inn for all living things. Time is a guest of the ages. The difference between life and death is like being awakened from a dream. The young man held up the wine cup and took a gulp. After Wang Lin arrived here, everything beside himself has been blurry. However, at this moment, the young man's appearance became clear, and this created a clear contrast with the surroundings. This caused Wang Lin to be startled on the spot, and his mind rumbled as if the world was splitting apart. The appearance of the young man was very familiar. It was almost reading so much. Besides, the golden keyboard is active. I ask everyone to support a bit more, not just words of support. I'm afraid I can't even carry the last 3. Chapter 1406, like the soul of sadness. That was basically himself. The youth that had recited that arrogant poem and was holding the cup of wine looked almost exactly the same as Wang Lin. The only difference was the trace of time. Although Wang Lin looked young, he had lived for over 2,000 years, so there were traces of time on his body. However, the youth drinking wine was filled with vitality and life. No matter how you looked at it, he was a mortal no more than 30 years old. Wang Lin was frozen at the spot as he looked at the boat approaching. He watched the youth put down the cup and wipe away the wine from the corner of his mouth. The servant behind the young man was in his 40s, and his head swayed as he said, "Good, the young master's poem is really extraordinary. To this little one's understanding, this poem means that what the heavens have is difficult for people to obtain." Good. The youth smiled as he picked up a fan and pointed at the servant. "Fart, this is clearly a poem left behind by ancient people. From what you say, it's as if I made it myself." The servant smiled. He didn't seem to mind. He looked around and sighed. "Young master, we don't have a lot of silver left. Renting a boat in the river in the city of Su is not cheap. It has been 4 days. We should rush to the capital." The young man shook his head, and someone poured him another cup. He took a sip and was about to speak when his body trembled. His gaze fell on the bridge ahead of him. Wang Lin was standing on top of the bridge, and for an instant their gazes met. The young man's body trembled, and his expression changed. There was a hint of surprise in his eyes, and he put down his cup. He clasped his hands at Wang Lin, who was on the bridge, and said, "Brother, do you have the time to spare to come drink with me?" The tremble in Wang Lin's heart gradually calmed down, and his eyes revealed a strange light. He took a step forward and floated like a leaf before landing on the boat. The 4 servants next to the young man were all shocked. They stared at Wang Lin in disbelief. What surprised them was not Wang Lin's action, but the fact that Wang Lin looked exactly the same as their young master. Wang Lin didn't speak after landing on the boat, and he sat down across from the young man. The young man carefully looked at Wang Lin, and the more he looked, the more shocked he became. This person simply looked too much like him. After hesitating for a bit, he ordered his servants to prepare another cup. Shortly after, the servant took out a clean cup and personally filled it. While he was pouring, he observed Wang Lin and was secretly shocked. Brother looks extremely similar to me. I have seen many people while studying abroad, but I have never encountered anyone who looks so similar to me. May I ask what brother's name is? The young man asked with curiosity and a smile on his face. Wang Lin didn't speak. He was still pondering. He picked up the wine cup and drank it alone. Seeing that Wang Lin didn't reply, the young man didn't mind. He personally picked up the wine jug and poured another cup for Wang Lin. The soft sound of water rushing by the boat echoed as the boat gradually passed under the bridge. The dancers and singers were still there, but the people watching were silently pondering. Wang Lin drank one cup after another. The contemplation in his mind made it so the wine he drank had no taste. What the hell is going on? Why would this person appear in the human trial? Not only does he look like me, but even his soul. Wang Lin frowned and drank another cup. The young man was still smiling and no longer spoke. However, the servant beside him was not happy and complained in his heart. This is the city of Sua's ancient flower wine. It is very expensive. Night gradually arrived and a breeze that contained a chill flew by. The dancers and singers had already left, leaving only Wang Lin, the young man, and his servant. The moonlight gradually covered the earth and was reflected in the river. The breeze caused ripples to appear in the water. It was all very beautiful. The servant, already feeling impatient, looked up at the sky. Shortly after, he couldn't help but pull on the young man's cloth and winked. The young man smiled and shook his head. He ignored his servant. The servant bitterly smiled and whispered, "Young master, if we continue, we have to pay more for the boat also. There isn't much wine left. Drink with me." The contemplation in Wang Lin's eyes dissipated, and he waved his right hand to take out a wine jug. This wine was not the dragon blood, but it wasn't ordinary wine. If a mortal drank it, their lifespan and intelligence would increase. Seeing Wang Lin pull a wine jug out of nowhere, the servant's eyes widened. There was terror in his eyes, and he no longer dared to rush his master. After pouring a cup for himself, Wang Lin placed the jug at the center of the table. He drank the cup and looked up at the sky. He suddenly said, "This is the country of Zhao." The young man was also shocked by Wang Lin taking out the wine jug. After a long time, he took a deep breath and nodded. "Senior is an immortal?" Wang Lin held the cup and muttered to himself, "You grew up in a mountain village. Your father is Wang Tianshui, the second son in the family, and a carpenter. Your mother is Zhou Yingsu, a member of the Zhou family who studied for a few years in a private school. When you were young, your mother taught you how to read and write." These words were like thunder to the young man's ears, and he was startled. Wang Lin let out a sigh and put down the cup. He looked at the young man with a complicated gaze and softly said, "Continue walking down the life you chose." After he finished speaking, Wang Lin stood up and looked at the moon in the sky. At this moment, the surroundings were no longer blurry. Everything had become crystal clear. Wang Lin took a step toward the river and flew off into the distance. The servant on the boat trembled and slumped against the boat. There was panic in his eyes as he looked at the direction Wang Lin went and stuttered, A real immortal, young master, a real immortal. Young master, your dream was real." The young man stared at the sky, and after a long time, he let out a deep breath. He looked at the wine jug on the table and bewilderment filled his eyes. Wang Lin floated in the air and looked at the earth below him. He was familiar with this place. It was exactly the same as the country of Zhao in planet Suzaku. When I entered this human trial with my soul, I thought I would be seeking Tao like on planet Tianyun. I didn't expect that instead of seeking Tao, it would be my inner demons. Wang Lin let out a sigh and revealed a complicated expression. "Am I tired of cultivating? How else could I have created a phantom that walked down a different path?" Wang Lin silently pondered. "Unlike that time on planet Tianyun, I know who I am, and I know that all of this is an illusion. I know that I entered here with my soul, and I know my purpose here. I need to ignite the human trial." Wang Lin raised his head, and there was a hint of melancholy in his eyes. The moment he was able to see the world clearly, he understood what the human incense was and how to ignite it. If he wanted to, he could ignite the first incense stick right now.